looking at you, Johnson. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business, approving minutes of Monday, June 3rd.
Also moved.
Needs is moved.
I'll second.
Curtis seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Miscellaneous motions. Move to authorize and direct the vice chairman to sign the letters to the cities regarding second half distribution of 2024 infrastructure grant funds. I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Higgins moved. Thompson seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next one, move to authorize and direct the vice chairman to sign letters to the cities regarding second half distribution of 2024 Park and Rec funds.
Also moved.
Needs is moved.
I'll second.
McCurdy seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. The next on my list is change order number 9. We want to wait for just for cities.
That's it. It's on at 11:30.
Okay.
That and the application for payment.
Okay. I assumed that. I just want to make sure I wouldn't proceed. I guess that would be the end for our miscellaneous motions. With that being said, Ryan.
First on the line.
Always.
We'll be short and sweet. We got business.
That's why you're always first. That's why you're always first.
Good, you got it.
Good.
Obviously, if Jesse wants one of them, you can go on
Okay.
So as you can see out there, masonry's hot and heavy. Big switch going to start on June 24th. So you'll start seeing the steel go up. It'll be the whole west half. They'll put sequence 1, sequence 2 together. So we'll set that whole west half, and it'll be finished by July 9th. But ongoing, I mean, you see the retaining wall got poured on the south. They poured the lid on the safe room. So as of now, you'll start seeing some steel, but masonry will continue, and that's about it.
Rock and roll.
That's right.
Very good.
Sweet. That
Looks like we
concrete poured there in southeast, what was the purpose of it, or what's the value of it?
Where's this?
The southeast corner, you know where you poured that new concrete?
The retaining wall?
Yeah,
It's the generator and the transformer will sit up there.
okay. I didn't go back and look at the drawings, I'm not sure that was on the drawing, but it might have been, so.
It'd been on the civil drawings back there, yeah.
Okay.
So,
They did a lot of work that southeast corner, that, you know, laid dirt back in and dug the dirt out and back in and.
yeah, part of it, I guess. So, now they'll backfill that. Burlington Electric was in, they put their roof in on Thursday, so they're ready to go, and we'll backfill it, and then we'll pour some equipment pads, so. Other than that, you guys got anything for me?
I believe so.
Thanks for your report.
You bet.
Gonna have a good week to do things, sounds like.
That's right. Looks like we got a lot of rain over the weekend, but hopefully this week's dry.
Yeah.
So.
So far, it looks good.
Yeah, right. It looks good, but tomorrow might change.
Yeah, I know.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Extension. Jill, or whoever's presenting it. Sorry, I just assumed. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Amy Foster, and I am the Extension Council Treasurer. I've got Amy Ludlam and Carrie Collins with me as well. They're Extension Exec Board members. If you'll take a look at our 2025 budget, we've actually asked for a decrease in funds. Last year, we purchased a vehicle, which is the reason for the higher ask. The vehicle's been purchased, our other vehicle's running just fine, no major repairs in the upcoming future. It's been a busy year for Extension. We have 2 new agents. Jill was our Family and Consumer Sciences agent. She's moved over to Ag since Darrell's retirement, and Cassidy Lutz has been hired to fill the Family and Consumer Sciences role. We've also continued with the K-State Summer Intern Grant. So this year we have 2 summer interns that are covering a lot of programming in libraries and the schools. They have a lot of touches and they hit different demographics than we typically, are always able to hit.
Right.
So that's been a really good program.
And you've got 2 this year.
Yes, 2 this year. I believe this is the last year of the grant. We're hoping maybe in the future to, continue with some of that type of programming. But this is the last year that K-State's going to have the grant. It was a 3-year deal. We're at the end of the 3 years. This is our 2nd or 3rd year of hosting camp. So hosting our own camp again out at Melbourne Lake. So that's been a good change. Those all Coffee County kids as opposed to going to Rock Springs like they always used to do.
Was last year the first year for that?
Second year. Yeah. Yeah, and it's gone over really well. All the kids have seemed to really enjoy it. It's an overnight deal, 2 days. There's 162 youth and 18 clover buds enrolled in 4-H. So we've increased by 22 compared to the prior year. So 4-H is growing, 4-H has been good. And I'm sure if you've noticed at the fair, the livestock barns are overflowing and full. So, really, it's been a good year for extension.
We do.
Do you guys have any questions for myself, for the agents, concerns?
Your budget's down over your budget from a year ago. Are you pretty well on budget for 2004
Yes.
so
Yeah.
far?
Yeah.
I know you're only
as
5
of right
months in.
now, it's
Only 5
looking
months
good.
into it, but you're pretty close on budget.
Yeah, everything's looking good so far. The big change from last year to this year is just we bought that vehicle last year, and that vehicle's going to last us a while. All right. Any other questions?
Thanks for everything that Extension does. It's very valuable to the county.
Awesome. Yeah. Jill and Cassidy do a wonderful job. So we're very fortunate to have them.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Pretty easy.
Take care. Take care.
Definitely appreciate all your guys' support.
Take
Love
care.
you.
Thanks for coming in.
Take care, Joe.
Sorry I wasn't here earlier.
See too many groupies.
That's right, yeah. I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
That's good. So they're asking for what they think they need, what it tells me.
Well, that one, we're like way ahead and, Adam Hope's not till 20.
He's out here.
2025. We can have the hospital go.
Ready, you're ready.
I guess we're gonna take the hospital with everybody.
I mean, it's whatever. If, I didn't know he was out there, I'm sorry.
Okay, he's here if you want him, or?
Yeah, sure. We're just running way ahead of schedule, Adam.
Good, I
didn't know you was out there, sorry.
No, I needed to give a quick update of this weekend's events. Of course, we got some more rain and flooding, mainly, I don't know, I think I heard Waverly had close to 4
4 to
more.
6, 4 to 6.
So we had 4 blades out yesterday, a couple people out putting some barricades up, and then one guy hauling some rock to get some roads repaired. And we did have one other pipe get washed out that we're working on, trying to get it put back, but this rain keeps putting us behind. It shut us down this week again down on Flat Rock and on Oxen.
Did you get the pipes in for those 2? Pipes didn't come in?
The water ran all last week from the weekend before, and we were hoping to get started today, and water's running again, so.
I meant, did you get the pipes physically?
Yes, they are on site, ready to go.
On site, yeah.
Okay.
Whenever
That's what I meant. I didn't hear you got it.
whenever the rain shuts off, we'll be ready, yeah. So just wanted to fill you guys in and see if you had anything for me right quick before I head back out.
So,
Got a lot of extra work ahead of you, so.
Yep, we put in, I think, most of the day yesterday. People were out blading and barricading and checking things out, so,
Just taking care of business. Taking care of business.
yep. 7 days a week, seems like.
yeah. Is there any money available from FEMA or anything?
We're tracking all that. you know, it's something Ryan and I'll probably look into. I know we did on that first storm back in April. The numbers just weren't quite there. I know Bourbon and some other counties down south got into some FEMA money, but I don't think our numbers were high enough to get there yet, but
Okay,
Ryan and I'll
okay.
discuss that. Like I said, that's one good thing about our STAR program and all that. It tracks all that stuff, so.
That's based on dollars, is that correct? On the
Yeah.
amount?
Okay.
Can you know, one project this week, 2 weeks, another project because of weather, can you add them together for FEMA, or do they gotta be kept separate?
I mean, I don't remember exactly how 2019 went. I know that was a long 4 or 5 days there, however that, but that was one particular event. I don't know that we've ever had this type of thing since that I was not in charge of, but, you know, took care of, that spread out over a couple months, because this started back in April, and it seems like every couple of weeks we're having some more floods. So, no, Ryan and I will discuss that more and
Okay.
get some information on that.
I'd almost bet they won't let you add events together to get to that money goal, but
Yeah.
Just visiting with a board member from Shell Rock Township in Greenwood County, and said that they'd gotten some in the past, and they were taking pictures of their damage and stuff, so.
Yeah.
That's all I know, the reason I asked, just curious.
Yep, it's something we've done before. Just that was on a lot larger scale.
Yeah.
Back then.
Right, I understand,
So,
I understand.
all right, anything else? I'll get out of here, get you guys back on schedule.
thanks.
All right, thank you
very much.
Thanks, Aaron. You too.
Hospital, do you wanna wait on Dr. Shell, or?
Oh, I don't need him.
No, I'm just kidding.
I just seen he's on the list.
Yeah, let me just make sure he's not standing out here. Because I want to tell you that I'm the 3-year champion of our golf tournament, standing, by the way, now. First off, I want to thank you guys for your last week's vote for the hospital. That's not what we came here about, but I appreciate that. I kind of alluded to that, you know, we're going to get about 50% if we're lucky back when we treat somebody. And it's just hard to make that, but it is a service, and I appreciate everybody's vote there. That was awesome, and we appreciate it. What we're here for today is to do a little more begging, I guess, is for the Coffee County golf tournament is coming up, and you guys got bigger fish to fry than that, I know, but it is a big draw. It's the moneymaker, the foundation, the Coffee County Hospital Foundation, which is funded by grants. It has nothing to do with monies from the county. Grants and revenue that people lead to the hospital. This is a big thing for us. Now, I play golf once a year for this event, and I'm terrible at it, but it does bring a lot of people to the county and to the city, and that's kind of the money maker we have. I know as a small business owner, you guys get tired of people, you know, you fund this and you buy this cow and you do this, and I understand that. But any monies would be appreciated to help with that golf tournament, and I'm going to ask Wade also. I know he has maybe some funds that he can put towards that to put that on. But that is a big money maker for the foundation at the hospital. And Dr. Shell is the head of the foundation. I guess I just came for moral support. And to tell you, 3 years running, my team is the champion. And I'm a terrible golf player. All you got to do is hook up with somebody that can play. But I do appreciate everything you guys do and the vote. I do think when it came out, you know, bold letters that said forgave the loan. It was. I heard you say something, Wade, and I totally agree. I've never had a loan yet that I haven't paid. Absolutely. That's the mark of a good person and a business. But that was going to be impossible to ever get ahead from the hospital board, and I do appreciate that vote. And I think I told you last time, I can tell you from looking at the outside in that that's a tight ship. And we have a meeting. You're more than welcome to a financial meeting, whatever. I think we need to stay close with that so that you can see how that money's being spent, from air conditioners to MRI machines to whatever. And if you have any questions for me, call me. I'll be glad to tell you. So, just wanted to put that their way. You weren't here, but we're looking for our golf tournament for, didn't know if you had any monies. I know you get tired of getting hit up by everybody, but if you have any money to help with that golf tournament, we take any or all. It's kind of it's a big deal. That's basically how the foundation makes their money.
Never deny getting hit up, that's why it's there. It's offenders and people who speed who are donating the money, not me.
You bet.
I'm just a conduit.
Well, like I said, having a small business, it's just one after another. I get that. So I was hoping Dr. Shell would be here and I'd just be backup today, but here I am. So
What's the entry fee for those?
it's expensive. $350, I believe, for a 4-man team. Yeah.
$350, so about $100 per.
Yeah, and it's not a big party. I mean, there's a few gifts that gives, but it's not spent on anything, you know, that's outrageous. It's to draw people in. I'm not a golfer, but there are a lot of people who live and die for that sport, and they come from all over. Yep, they come from all over. Oh, here they are, right here. Yeah, I was just doing a little backup.
Wow.
Just talking a little bit.
I don't know, Jeff knows how he's coming or not.
$10,000, they said.
He hasn't called me once
No.
yet, I said.
I'm just.
Has the commission participated
We're not
in funds before?
I believe so. Dr. Shell, has the commission helped out with the golf tournament before?
Not that I'm aware.
I don't recall either, Dr. Sheriff.
Yeah. You want to tell them a little bit about the foundation?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, get my breath. Foundation was a nonprofit 503c that was established in 1997 by a private donor to provide scholarships for graduating seniors in the county. To date, we have provided 143 of those scholarships, which are $1,000 a year, renewable every year for 4 years.
You are renewable.
Yeah. Totaling $476,000. The foundation, which is a separate entity from the hospital, has also paid for EMS to teach middle schoolers CPR. That program, when it first got started, we were hoping to do every school every year, so every 7th grader learns how to do CPR moving forward. But then COVID hit and kind of put a kibosh on that. So we're trying to get that program restarted, and the foundation pays for the EMS to do that. We've also provided some capital equipment needs for the hospital, such as monitors, life-saving defibrillators, CPR mannequins, and refurbished the OB suites in the hospital, and then last year helped purchase a $225,000 ambulance. So this year's golf tournament, our fundraising event, is to help offset the cost of that ambulance from last year. So we're here formally to invite the commission to be one of the sponsors for the golf tournament.
It's evidently a great event, a lot of recognition brought to the county,
Yeah.
and we contribute quite a bit of money to different events in the county.
Sure.
At what dollar amount do we jump into?
Right.
That's a what-if question.
Right. It's so on the back of the pamphlet, I think it shows some opportunities there, and most of the money that we generate is from sponsorship. The golf tournament itself doesn't really generate a lot of money because of the fees, etc. It's only a 9-hole course, it makes it a little tougher. We try to always keep it in county for that reason, as opposed to going somewhere else. But because it's 9 holes, it limits us a little. Anyway, you're right. I don't know if the commission has ever sponsored before, and so we thought this is a reasonable opportunity to come to you and see if that's something that you would be interested in doing.
A lot of our sponsorships vary quite a bit, inter-contributions. You just don't know whether it needs to be a few $100 or $1,000 or $2,500.
Right.
A lot of our major events are $2,500.
Right.
We did do $3,000 on one
You have to go play golf, it's 2,500 a quarter disc.
So you
My golf
get a team, it doesn't mean you have to play.
Oh.
You could have your kids or your grandkids play on a team for you.
Dr. Shell, somebody said they play once a week, or once a year.
Once a year,
I don't
did you
even do
remind
that.
the commission again who the standing champion is?
Yeah, he may be in this room.
There is no INT.
That's right, thank you. So you wouldn't have to play per se.
I guess we gotta start
I was
some,
just looking, it says, 2,001 team registration.
Right.
2 golf carts, so,
Right.
He's gonna have to go play.
Exactly, right. And it is for fun, so nobody ridicules your ability either. And it's tax deductible. So, yeah, if you donate money to the hospital, it's not tax deductible, but if you donate to the foundation, it is.
I'm not sure anything's tax deductible for us.
Probably not, probably not. Well, if the commission didn't want to do it as a whole and you wanted to do it
Yeah.
individually or individually as well,
Yeah.
then it would be tax deductible. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
I have no idea how the rest of the commission feels, but I would move that we provide $2,500 to the foundation and to the hospital. Anybody wants to?
They're gonna have to get their own team members, so,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm curious, you said that you try to do CPR for the like the 7th graders.
Right.
Is that going to be reenacted sometime?
Yeah, we're trying.
Yes.
So, with COVID, and then we had some significant staffing issues.
Right, right.
And so that made it
I
hard.
know that really caused some
Right.
issues for you guys.
Right, so in Burlington, for as long as I can remember, the 7th graders have always done hunter safety in their PE classes, which I think is a noteworthy thing. And then knowing that, we thought CPR moving forward, if kids have that understanding, that would be a good thing as well. So just when we started getting that done, we were able to do it in Burlington. We wanted to go to the other schools, and then things kind of fell apart. So that's the plan, to try to get every school, every year, 7th graders know how to do CPR, something you'll...
And those funds would be derived from, partially from...
Right, it's about $1,500, I think, and that's where the purchase of the mannequins came into play. They're $25,000, so that's where that money goes.
I would say that motion.
Meets is moved. McCray is seconded. $2,500. Just need to decide where it's gonna come from. Ideas?
Well, you could do community improvement reserve if you wanted, or you could do general fund community
General
improvement.
funds where we pulled some of them out, because it's got 17 million set.
Either one.
Where did we pull the
Last week?
Yeah.
I think it came out of the general, but I think it came out of the general.
You could do general fund community improvement
Yeah.
line item.
$2,500 sponsorship, coming out of community improvement reserves. Meets moved, McCray seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for everything you do.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I add one thing?
Mm-hmm.
If, while they're here, if you guys want to go ahead and approve their budget, you have to approve it by June 10th. I have it on the Canva, the budget they presented. Correct.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, that was,
I think
That
it's
was
by the
last week,
10th,
wasn't
the
it?
deadline is that they have to have it approved.
that was last week, wasn't it?
And it'll be under number, hospital is 50.
Which one?
50. ambulance is number 46. But the hospital is the actual budget that you have to have the motion for, I believe.
I'd say.
You know, Angie, there at one time, and I don't remember what years it started, it was all done with mill levies, I think. One mill for the ambulance and 2 for the hospital. But it hasn't been making much difference than what is set in a certain dollar amount either.
Right, but you, in order to generate this amount of money, you had to have the 2 mills,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes. That was 2 years ago, if I remember.
I forget what year we
Yeah.
made that.
So as you can see, their budget's staying the same for their request from the county. So it's just a formality to make the motion, if you are okay with that.
Mr. Vice Chair, I would move that, you want that motion made in mills or just a dollar amount?
It's on your canvas there. Move to approve the 2025 Coffee County Ambulance Services and Coffee County Hospital budget as presented.
No, that's a change order.
No, I'm sorry, you're right.
It's right above that change order.
Yeah.
Okay. Move to approve the 2025 Coffee County Ambulance Services and the Coffee County Hospital budget as presented.
This is moved.
I'd second that.
Thompson seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Pretty easy.
Well, I know we certainly appreciate what the hospital does for our Coffee County as well as some adjacent counties around us. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people coming in Coffee County for the service that's there.
Thank you for your time. Have a good rest of your day.
Go practice on my golf swing.
I love the game, but
It's not for me.
I haven't played for 2 years.
Now's your chance.
Yeah.
I got buried in paperwork, lost my agenda. We're way ahead. I'm gonna assume nobody's here for the Lebo Learn and Play. Daycare.
Can we do a few things because I've got some stuff to do?
Try that.
We have a resolution that I need you guys to re-sign. You weren't here the day it was done. Wade gave me a new one. There was a little verbiage added about allowing the vice chairman to sign. So, anyway, I just need you 3 to sign, and then when Jesse's back, he'll sign. And that was by Wade.
Okay.
This is the resolution dealing with the sale of the Meadows property, and the only thing that's different, somewhere along the way, the original resolution got misplaced. I had to print off a new one. I printed off one that did not have the language authorizing the vice chairman to sign. So, in case there's an issue later on down the road, since the vice chairman has signed the sale documents, this was the version of the resolution that was authorized by the board. But Commissioner Huguenin was not present.
Just on top here.
Yep.
Steve does not sign this.
Steve does.
Yeah, Steve does.
Yeah. And then Jesse will sign when he's back, so. And then we have some special issues.
We'll get jump up and take care of the time clock, you know.
Yeah, is that a lengthy deal?
No, actually it's not. So when we signed up with them, in January of 2023, we signed a peopleware agreement between CIC and Coffee County, and that was for the installation, the interface, and the hosting of Time Clock Plus. Then in October, or actually September, they sent us an invoice for a Comp Time Essentials module and then installation and training. That was $840, and so we've not received anything else. There's no contract actually. So as far as I know, we can just not use it and not renew. And I've talked with one of the reps at CIC, and she said, well, she would confirm with, but I already checked into this earlier this year. I think when we had a department head meeting or something, we contacted them on the phone that day, and they said that we don't have a contract.
The only cost incurred was just the $1,600, is that right? And that
The
was-
16,000
yeah,
when we first initially started.
And then was there a?
There would be a maintenance
A
fee,
maintenance
but we
fee.
haven't received anything
Okay.
on that yet,
Right.
so.
We already made the motion.
Yeah,
So-
so, I mean, and as far as I know, departments have stopped using it as of that day, so,
Smiley.
yeah.
So I guess it's
So that's
done.
short and sweet. If
Okay.
anything else comes up, I'll let you know, but, I mean,
Okay.
they're not gonna be able to force us to continue to use
Sure.
it, I know that.
And we've already made the motion to.
Yes,
We did that last week.
So we did that last week.
Okay.
that's done.
So that's a done deal then. I'm kind of surprised they didn't have an annual, you know, every year the annual event came up. I'm surprised they didn't have
Yeah,
and another 12 months.
it would just be a maintenance fee is all, because once we purchased it, that was it, that was.
And the maintenance fee would allow you to make contact with
Yes.
with their IT group and everything. Yeah.
And another thing I have, if you want to address it.
Sure.
We haven't done, or figured out what dates we're gonna sign checks and vouchers for the rest of the year, so I wondered if we could take a look at that real quick.
We've got, what, the 26th down for June?
Yes.
The 26th for June, okay, and
So
then,
that's what we got.
yeah, and then, I was looking at July, I figured that day, we could do Monday the 29th,
That worked in good, that's it.
Yeah.
and then for August, probably Wednesday the 28th. And then September, I was thinking Thursday the 26th.
It's on a Thursday.
Yeah. And then October, I thought we could shoot for Monday the 28th again. And then November, I was thinking Tuesday the 26th, because I think, is it Thanksgiving the 28th and 29th that year? Or-
Can I do it on 25th, which would be meeting day? I'm not saying we have to.
We could possibly, we could do that for now, and if it
Okay.
doesn't look like we're gonna make it, we'll move it, okay?
So the 25th.
Yeah, we'll try the 25th, yeah. And then in December, I thought Monday the 30th. That gives us one day before the last day of the year, but I thought we could probably squeeze it in there. We'll try.
That'd make 4 of those months on meeting date, which makes it a little more convenient.
It does. I tried to do that, so, but sometimes it doesn't work out.
That's right.
I think those are the only things I had right off.
Good. All right.
Well, then a little time.
Well, I'm sure that our next one will be in here short. We've got a break scheduled. You just take 10 minutes now.
Sure. Yeah, you can wait.
We'll break till 9:47. Charge line freezes, I guarantee that backup water powered one. Just keep throwing out water in your basement.
Yeah, that's not what I want to do.
We are back, waiting for 10 o'clock for Lebo Learn and Play Daycare. Short conversation. I'm out of here. You gonna go play golf? You play once a year too?
Once every 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
I have a brand new set of clubs I've used 4 times in 10 years. Golf is a frustrating mental game for me. The balls.
For some reason, it does not aggravate me. I stink at it, and one day I'll go out there and do awesome. So I think, next time I go, it's like I'm gonna do awesome, and I don't. It has not.
All it takes is one to get involved and make you play again.
It does not upset me as much as it did when I was out fishing Coffee County Lake Saturday. And I had my poles out, throwing. And it slid and it caught underneath that I call it the mooring tie down thing. My rod slipped underneath there and I got a hit on that line. I picked it straight up and snapped that rod right. That made your day, didn't it? $20 to call it. Tried to blame it on the garters, but they wasn't buying it.
I hear you. That's your instinct. Just grab it though.
I did. I picked it straight up. Snap.
Most of these golf courses have got too much water on them for me.
Your ball ends up in there, you mean?
I pretty well can't get across a water hole.
I swear I raised the level of that pond out there. It's not 2 inches. But I'm getting over that pond regardless, and 6 balls later, I gave up. Never mind.
Flash.
$1.50 each time. You play golf? No. No, not at all. It's not a bad game. I mean, I was told that if you ever think you're gonna be good at it, just don't, never get frustrated. Just don't think you're ever gonna be good at it, and you'll have fun.
You can accept that. Then.
Yeah. So that's the way, the mentality I use when I go out there. never gonna be Tiger Woods or anybody like that. You play a lot, Sabian?
I don't play a lot when I play, and I enjoy it. But I'm kind of like Steve. I would say everybody you hit one good shot. We used to call it in college the cha-ching shot. It was the guy in the clubhouse ringing up your next round because you hit one good shot that makes you come back.
It does, yes. All it takes is one good shot.
Yeah, it makes one shot.
I don't mind them four-man scrambles. I get to contribute at least 1 or 2 holes out of 18.
I play mostly scrambles now just because you're busy with work and work it in and
Yeah.
it's not.
I haven't fished Coffee County Lake in a long time.
Probably won't come back down to Bird Falls, but anyway, yeah.
No, I'll be back. I haven't, like I say, it's a nice facility, it really is.
So it was
It's
warm.
nice to have 5,000 acres of water and getting those skiers and, you know, it's kind of. That's a jail project.
Did you go out Saturday or Sunday, which was
Saturday.
It was warm, humidity was high.
Yeah, I used to go out there quite a bit when I had a lot of.
I should have looked at this.
Finding dang walleye. At the same spot. I don't know. Probably just the timing of it, but.
Just talk to those guys, they know. They know where they're hitting.
Martin said they've been catching, but nobody really tells where.
Yeah, he'd know.
Yeah. When they put in a cleaning station for your vessel.
Oh, right after I took office.
Really? It looks very good. It's not a bad idea.
Try to eliminate
Zero muscle.
all the liver mussels and anymore they're talking about the invasive
It was stuck together.
aquatic vegetation that's coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have an invasive species, stuck on your water, and you move, come into here, so.
I sure did.
Trying to keep as much invasive species out as I can.
Still enjoyable day between breaking a fishing pole and
Not the last one I read.
give me have the kind of set forever.
Still a good day of fishing, yes.
Bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work.
Yes, sir.
I guess that's true.
I got one big shot at dog, you got that $5 or $6 lure and you're throwing it just right and have a nice, hit. I've used to bass fish a lot. By the time that you put that bait out there and it goes one way and your line goes the other, just same thing as a golf ball. Once it goes in the water, you're not getting it back.
Yeah.
He's done here.
Good morning.
Did you pick these up?
That good old slow clock when you're waiting on it.
Mm-hmm. Talked about golf, fishing. about you? You like to fish? I know you don't like to golf.
I mean, yeah, every once in a while, we don't have a boat, so, but yeah.
My daughter, I remember when she was dating her husband, he wanted to take her fishing. So she come and got some stuff from me, and I cook her funnies. Weedless pink worms.
Oh,
He laughed at her, and she started catching more fish than him. He switched. He thought these rubber worms were ridiculous, although she was a girl, but she started catching way more fish. No, I'm not done because, the Medicare question. If I did, I got checked.
So you're not enrolled in?
Oh, yeah.
Were you on the high deductible care plan?
Yeah,
So you can't be on that.
but this is only for hospital.
Okay. Let me check on that, and I'll check on it here for you, and see what we need to do.
Are you gentlemen with the Lebo? Are you gentlemen with the Lebo?
That's probably goes up 12.
Wholesale 12.
Oh,
The water plant, yeah.
okay. I thought they looked familiar. I didn't.
Use from Lebo. Yeah.
That's who were waiting on Bethany Thomas and Melissa Beach, but I didn't know if they got sent in their place or what. They're scheduled for 10.
I think. I don't know. She just brought it to me.
Have we got some people joining us Zoom today?
Oh, well.
Okay.
So you currently have option 1, which is this one.
Okay.
And so that's, if you want to keep it the same, do that, and then,
Thought so, but
yeah.
I wasn't sure where
This
this.
is just, you can't have option 3,
Okay.
if you like option 3. And
Okay.
then you can get them to sign it on that, I think.
Have you heard from Lebo Learning Site?
There they are, right there.
Oh, there they are, right there. Good morning, ladies. Actually, don't have a seat because we're ready for you whenever you are.
Okay.
I should have stopped you before you went back there, sorry.
All right.
We're running way ahead of schedule, so.
Perfect. Do you want me to just pass things out before we get started here?
Sure.
Okay, or I'll just give one to you and you can pass them down and around.
You can keep it the same, you don't have to. Hi, good morning.
Morning, ladies, sorry.
All right, well, as those go around, yeah. I'm Bethany Thomas, so I'm a student support specialist, counselor at Lebo Elementary School.
I'm Dr. Melissa Beach, and I'm the principal for Lebo K-12. Thanks for having us here today.
Yeah, we'll be short and sweet. We're
Yeah,
just getting the word out.
Just wanted to come and talk with you about a project that we're working on. So, a priority for us in Lebo, as many school districts in the county and surrounding areas, is really to ensure that we are getting early literacy going as soon as humanly possible. It used to start in pre-K, but we know now that it's critically important that the earlier that we can get a foundation of literacy built in our young people, the better off they'll be once they start pre-K and kindergarten. And so for us, that really looks like getting a child care facility up off the ground. In our facilities currently, we do have a daycare that serves 2.5 to age 5. We also have a preschool that serves 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds heading into kindergarten. But we recognize the need in our community for expanding that. And so we are looking to get a child care facility that houses infants through age 5 in the community, because currently we only have 2 in-home daycares that provide infant care, which provides a gap in not only child care in our town, but also it doesn't allow us to serve the maximum number of humans possible in terms of early literacy. So, yes, we tried to make things colorful as we can.
Yeah, so just a couple of things for you. So we started this project last year. We purchased the Roundtable building that closed down in Lebo. So we were able to secure a grant and purchase that building. We've had our child care licensing specialist for the county come out and kind of give us a rundown of the building itself and how many children we could serve in it. We've met with an architect out of El Dorado as well, and kind of have some draft plans to get that unit off the ground with 4 child care units. Again, like she said, ranging starting with that infant care up to school-aged children as well. So we've included that, the current floor plan, some pictures of that building that's been purchased, and kind of some options A and B that we are currently looking at with the architect. Again, you'll see it includes 4 units of different ages of children as well in this floor plan.
Part of this work is really to, again, the reason we're coming to you is to ask for a letter of support. We are working on 4 other grants, which you'll see in here. This is something that takes a lot of work. After meeting with the architect, it will take about $680,000 to redo the Roundtable clinic, which is still substantially less than what it would be for us to build a new facility. However, whenever you're trying to get infants as in the same facility as your 2.5 to 5-year-olds, it just changes the game and what the architecture design looks like. And so that's why it costs just over $500,000 to get that going. So we are working actively right now on grants. One of the things we noticed in Lebo is that we're kind of in that spot where it's like, what comes first, chicken or the egg? We want to grow our community, but we do not have young families that can come in because we don't have child care. We also are in a different place than maybe Lebo has been in lots of districts around, where it is very, very hard to recruit quality teachers. And having child care in the community where teachers could actually bring their kids and leave them in the same town that they're working is important, because as a young mom myself, it's like I'm not leaving my kid in Emporia and then driving over here, or I'm not going to, we tried to recruit a teacher earlier this year who has a grandparent who's watching the child in Marigazine who would love to come and work for us, but can't do that because you need to go where your child care is. So we're missing an opportunity also to provide infant child care in our community that would also be attractive for us in terms of recruiting and retaining high-quality teachers. So that is kind of our plan.
So the letter of support goes hand in hand with the grant, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah. So a lot of the grants that we're applying for, we are working with one in conjunction with the city of Lebo, and then there's 4 grants that we're working on that are, we're writing them from the school standpoint, but they do ask for letters of support from the county and from the city as well, just to show that we're not just acting like independently, it's bigger than just the school. It is an impact, anything we can do to get jobs into Coffee County, get families into Coffee County, same with Lebo specifically, I think that's important. So we're just asking for letters of support, either from individual businesses in Coffee County or you all as a county in general. It would just be helpful for us when applying for our grant.
Well, I have no problem signing letters. Sure, we've done several of them, but I don't know exactly how that goes down. Do you write that up and then I just sign it? Do we make a motion to sign it, or?
Yeah, we can do that.
We support all of the above.
Yeah.
So we just need a
Let me
motion.
just take a quick look here.
When you get this all completed, what's the maximum number of young people you're gonna be able to take care of?
Yeah, it will range. We can have the square footage, we can have up to 39 kiddos
39?
in that center, with the current building. Then it kind of depends on how many infants and things like that. The different the different age
And
ranges will depend on how
On
many.
the plans, there's a room here in the back, which, I'm sorry, that is very small, but here towards the back, we have a couple of rooms, so the ones with the little tiny squares, those are the infant rooms. We have 2 of those up at the front, and it just depends on how long the infant is in our care, if it's half day, all day, however many. But each one of those little squares represents a crib according to KDHE, and that's how they have to be spaced out. So we're hoping to be able to house up to 12 infants at a minimum.
And a total of 39 altogether.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, do you have some verbiage already?
We can get that to you.
Okay, if you
Sure.
could do that, and then, we can have you sign it next week. Would that work next
That's
week?
in
Yeah,
there.
that'd be fine.
Yeah, that's great. Is there an email address to me?
Yes.
If you just write that on, or you can write down here.
So your older children that you have now, those programs, do you have enough capacity in those areas?
Our preschool is topped out right now. We are at 24 to 27, it just depends. So we're pretty maxed out on our pre-K, 'cause we only have 1 classroom, 1 teacher in the school. For our daycare, we currently serve 22.
20,
Yeah,
yeah.
so-
But
Okay.
And is that at school then?
Mhm.
Okay.
Ideally, if we got the child care facility up off the ground, we would relocate the pre-K and the daycare into the early childhood center. That would free us up room. Our current class sizes in Lebo are growing. We have classes of 22 to 27 at the elementary, and so that would free us up classroom space and also allow parents to drop their children off and keep them inside one school facility birth, and then make a natural transition at pre-K into kindergarten, into a natural facility.
Right.
So we'd like to try and ease it for families as much as possible.
Sure. Just such a overwhelming need
Yeah.
in every community.
Definitely. So, and that's kind of, I just printed this off for Coffee County, the child care aware, so that comes from the state as well. Goes back to 2022, so you can kind of see, as far as centers go, there's been 4, I mean, we're not necessarily growing in that area. We've added some in-home daycares in the county, but not necessarily daycare centers, that include that infant care, so. And through their surveys, I mean, I know Lebo has their own specific needs, but I think as an area as a whole, county, I mean, they say potential of 127 spots still needed that aren't covered. People are going outside the county to get childcare, so.
And there's a lot of community partnerships that are going on right now. I mean, like I said, we just spent kind of a whole day with like regional area, school facilities, and they're having to work with like businesses and things like that to like partner to create these facilities. It's just, the need is there, people need them. And quite frankly, from just bringing jobs to the community area, childcare would be the best investment. Only because what we can't make up always in salary, you can make up by stipends for childcare, something that parochial schools have been doing forever. It just, man, you have to have a place to take your children.
Right.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Any questions, other questions for us?
Appreciate you coming in and giving us a very good update.
Be glad to support you.
And good luck.
Great. Okay, thank you. I've got
Would
the
you be
email
able to
address.
get that to me today or tomorrow?
For sure.
This week? Okay.
There's not today, yeah.
Anybody want
And
that?
then we'll get them.
And next week's signature is sufficient as far as.
Yeah,
timeline?
oh, yeah,
That'd be
yeah,
great.
that's great. The 4 that we have there are current,
The earliest submission date we have is at the end of June.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
We just wanted to start early.
Planning ahead,
Yeah.
very good.
yeah.
We'll get them.
Thank you all very much for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Y'all have a great day.
You as well.
Thank you.
Well, 10:15. So we got showing up in person? You just got OL on Zoom, or do we know? Who else?
I know Howell is appearing by Zoom defense.
Okay. I know he's in Phoenix, so I didn't know. I'm assuming Matt's coming in person. Get a text.
It may not come in yet,
No.
but information will be there.
Okay. That's good news for there.
Instead of writing it all out, I thought I'd just text it to you, that way you have the number and everything.
Okay.
Making sure it's all working ahead of time so we don't waste time.
So from Jesse evidently, here, gosh, when was it, a few months back, he signed a letter of support for Quick Com to get buried fiber to Jacobs Creek.
Yes.
It looks like that was successful for him,
Great.
Right,
so
hadn't heard any more about it.
just came across, so
Good, good.
update on that. Sign a letter of support's beneficial to some of these people.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, we do everything we can, especially when that's all it requires.
Right. I asked this, but I guess I don't remember the answer to the question. Was Matt coming in person? Or was he coming? Or do you know?
I don't know.
I'm not aware.
I don't know either.
I would say if he's not here, he's probably not coming in person, be my guess. I do know who else was gonna lead the discussion.
Okay.
Morning, Howell, can you hear us?
Hey, good morning. Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Morning.
How's everybody this morning? Good?
Good.
Yes, good.
It's Nathan, you just center. Morning, Nathan.
There's Nathan.
Do we know if anybody else is showing up? Is Matt attending, or?
Matt is not attending, he's on PTO, so from Burns and McDonald side, it'll be myself and Nathan.
Okay. Well, I guess we're ready when you are.
Okay. Very well. Let me attempt to share my screen. Can I get a confirmation, you guys able to see that screen?
Not really.
We can see it real well, but you might want to zoom it in. Okay.
How's that?
Better.
Much better.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. The purpose of today is really to just give an overall update on the work in progress for the pre-development support services that Burns and McDonald that we're working on behalf of Coffee County for. We're doing so in collaboration with CFS as well as TEM on the private side, making sure there's alignment on the deliverables that will be the exhibit for the development agreement, the outline for that development agreement, the exhibits that will be attached to that development agreement, and overall program budget on the various projects that are a part of this program and this development, as well as an overall timeline that we're putting together comprehensively as well. So those agreements we're working on those actively, and that last we met, there was these agreements or these task authorizations were presented. Since then, they've been executed, so we're working through those task authorizations, putting together the deliverables. We similarly have a task authorized from the private sector side, Trusted Electronic Materials, where we're doing similar things for them focused on the development of their fabrication facility, putting together a budget, making sure the scopes and budgets are aligned on their end, as well as an overall schedule for them. So a couple high-level milestone scheduled dates that are upon us here, where we remain laser-focused on getting the outline development agreement put together and those exhibits of that agreement put together. The target date is to have that outline agreement prepared by the 30th of this month, as well as the exhibits. And the goal is to have those, have that development agreement coordinated with the exhibits aligned, so that Coffee County then can provide input, review. We can make tweaks on it however need be, so that Coffee County feels comfortable with it, confident with it, for two things: to engage your legal counsel, as well as then move forward with negotiating and executing the development agreement with Trusted Electronic Materials. Secondly, with that is the purchase agreement for Trusted Electronic Materials purchasing the lots that they would then need to acquire to develop their fabrication facility for that initial phase. So the execution of those agreements, I just got in here projecting out a July 30th date. That's a moving target, of course, with the negotiation process and engaging counsel from Coffee County side, as well as Trusted Electronic Materials, engaging their counsel to get to a date for execution. Critical dates that are also speculative at this point pertain to the Department of Commerce starting what's called their due diligence review process for the CHIPS application on that fabrication facility. And the anticipation is that should open up the end of this month or sometime early July. And the speculative date for issuing any funds or a notice of intent to award would be in that mid-September date. If those play out well, then Trusted Electronic Materials, October 1st or the first week of October, intend on releasing post-award, what we're calling post-award investments. That's a full detailed engineering, procurement, and construction of the fabrication facility. So all of those, the ability to do that are teed off of two things: executing the development agreement, purchase and sale agreement, as well as the notice of award from the Department of Commerce. And I'll go through a high level of the outline agreement, and then we'll shift over to the actual schedule that we've been putting together and the actual outline agreement that is in a very much a draft format right now. But the outline agreement would contain these articles. So definitions and rules of construction, the sale of the project site, and the development of the project. In this case, that would be the lots that TEM would acquire to develop their fabrication facility. And we intend on having this outline development agreement that it can be flexible for use on future lots that get acquired by either TEM for future fabrication facilities, as well as the other private entities that may come on board for front-end and back-end services relative to that semiconductor process. So the development and the construction of the right-of-way improvements, we've been working with CFS to identify and kind of define those conceptual drawings and conceptual plans for off-site infrastructure improvements, the roads and highway improvements, and the on-site development of KSMC Industrial Park. The financial model, similarly, we've been working with the utility companies to understand rough order magnitude costs of their capital expenditure projects and what the utility agreements would look like and how that gets financed through the project on utility agreements that would be executed by TEM, as well as the Department of Transportation and some of the roads and highways, how those would be funded as well. So we've got a better understanding today than we did when we first met on how those financial models would work, and any information or narratives relative to reimbursements would be identified in the outline agreement. And then your typical stuff, assignment and transfer of any rights, the construction improvements, describing what those improvements are, use and operation of the project, making sure that the zoning and the use of these properties and the facilities are appropriate, defaults and remedies, and general provisions. That's mostly what legal counsel and the terms will want to identify and make sure those are looked at from that perspective. Some of the exhibits that we're working on and putting together include the following, and there may be others that we add onto the list, and some of these we may decide are not as relevant and can be deferred. The project site or legal description, the overall project site map, the pre-development budget that will outline all projects within the overall development, a performance milestone or high-level key milestone schedule, any insurance specifications or provisions that need to be included, the improvements by way of descriptions and drawings for right-of-way expectations, and any certificates or vehicles for instructing disbursement of funds and financing for those projects as well. Other documents that are certainly part of this, and they may be separate independent documents or they may be tied to some of these exhibits, would be the utility agreements and calculations on how those get developed, any economic development incentives, any requests for reimbursement forms through some of those vehicles, the purchase and sale agreement, and then the industrial park as a whole. A couple things: the design standards that would meet the expectations of Coffee County, as well as any CCNRs, the covenants, conditions, and restrictions for those operating facilities within the industrial park. So we have a few templates to work with on some of those as well. And then, so I'll pause for a moment and see if I have any questions there. Otherwise, I'll bring up the overall schedule, comprehensive schedule that we're working on. Any questions so far?
You know, it looks like you've got your target date to get everything finished by 6:30, and it looks to me like there's a huge amount of stuff that's still yet to be done. You think it's all you can finish everything that you got quoted there by 6:30?
Yes, we feel confident with what we now know. CFS is putting together the exhibits, but certainly the language and the narrative of the development agreement, we feel confident about having that in an outline draft that Coffee County internally as well as externally with any legal counsel can then start redlining, adding input, or adding any suggestions or edits to that. The exhibits will be defined in a draft format. Some of them will be, pretty cut and clear. Maybe the legal description might be nailed down, and we don't anticipate that moving. Other things may be a work in progress, but those exhibits can always be amended.
The notice to award from Department of Commerce, September 16th. You got a pretty good comfort level on that and the date that's stated?
That would be the only one that I personally do not. It's the U.S. Department of Commerce, it's federal government. It's our best speculative guess based on what other historical applications have played out to be. In other words, that date is based on a gut that past applications for the CHIPS for America Act funding have been issued awards prior to the end of a fiscal year for the following fiscal year end of that application. So based on the date that the CHIPS application was submitted and based on other historical projects, the guess is that the fiscal year ending in September for the federal government, that they'll be incentivized to close this out and issue those awards prior to the end of that September fiscal year.
Well, you keep bringing up for legal counsel to look over. I know in December 18th of last year, when we basically made the agreement with Burns and Mack to assist in the development of this project, we stated in an open meeting that the conduit of information was supposed to go through Fisher Patterson and or our county attorney. And is that not happening? I mean, would it not be better if that did happen so that get legal counsel involved now as opposed to at the end and then have to redo everything, or can you tell me why?
No, I think actually,
I think
great question, and actually I think the timeline of which we're moving forward is a pretty quick timeline.
Well, can you tell me why we're not doing that?
That June 30th date would be the date that we feel confident for any legal advisor or counsel that acts on behalf of Coffee County can then take a look at that, and we can certainly work in concert and collaborate with that. Any day prior to, they certainly have eyes on it, but it's very much a draft format. I anticipate they'll probably ask a lot of questions that will be information that we know that we owe prior to. So being good stewards of the county's dollars, don't want to engage some of those legal counsel too early. We want to feel confident on the vehicle that we have with some of the exhibits that we have, so that they have some solid input, and we can present to them our approach on it and bring them up to speed pretty quick on that.
Well, I guess I'll go back to again that the conduit of information was supposed to go that direction. Can you tell me why it has not? as of December 18th, 2023 meeting. Everybody agreed, Matt agreed, you agreed. Everybody agreed. What happened?
Well, we just got on board with the pre-development support services here within the last month. So we're now on board and providing those services to prepare the document to allow your legal counsel to have input on and review. We can, like I said, we can certainly set up a work session with any legal, counsel you'd like in the interim, as well to provide some input. It'll be very much in a draft format.
So you haven't touched base with anybody from Fisher Patterson or the county attorney?
We have not formally submitted any review documents at this point. We certainly can schedule those, but we've been leaning on the county to identify when that appropriate time is as well.
Well, I guess just recently I've been aware there was any meetings, and I wouldn't, I guess I've been, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but.
Yeah, no, I think they're all valid questions. So we had the December 18th date you're talking about, just to clarify, was the master agreement. It had no task authorization with no scope of work and no dollar amount yet issued.
Right.
And then when, the most recent release that we had was less than a month ago, May 13th, to execute this first task authorization for us to start preparing the outline development agreement and the deliverables. So I think today's update is part of that discussion, right? To say, hey, here's where we're at, in less than a month, and what was unknown then and what is known now. And I feel real confident about, we have a lot more known today than we did as little as 30 days ago when we first got executed and released on this. That we could certainly have what I would call and consider a work session to walk through what we know now, with the county commissioners and, any legal counsel on your behalf. But it'll certainly be a work session. And then the 30th is a date, again, the end of this month, that we'll feel very confident that these will be the narrative of the terms of the outline agreement, as well as the exhibits, will be in a draft format that is definitely, a outline agreement that's a baseline, if you will, that can really then be fine-tuned and reviewed and edited.
So you don't think having to go back and fine-tune and edit or whatever, we can still get that accomplished by June? So I guess my question would be, if legal counsel was already involved in any of the discussion prior, wouldn't this, final vetting and approving and all that can't go quicker, or am I wrong? It can. It wouldn't hurt, put it that way. We can schedule a work session. We also want to make sure that some of the documents that we put together are in a manner that we can speak to, and some of them are moving targets right now. But certainly within the next week or so, we feel very confident on that.
You think that's something we need, Tom, as a work session?
Yeah.
Next Monday afternoon? And
We have, because we don't know what it says.
Yeah.
And our legal counsel don't know what it says. Does anybody else with the county know what it says?
We've been coordinating with Bobby Skipper on some of the documents and exhibits.
Well, I'll go back to it again, December 18th, the coordination was supposed to be between, as far as I'm concerned, Fisher Patterson and our county attorney.
I think to your point, I think a work session next week is in a very appropriate time to have that engagement.
can everything be put together by next Monday in order to answer some of the questions that Tom has brought up now?
Yeah, and let me share some of the work in progress documents. I know this is the draft format, but these will be the same documents that may mature between now and next week a bit, but I certainly feel confident in being able to walk through that. And I'll give you a couple examples. Prior to, there wasn't a lot of clarity on the utility infrastructure capital expenditure projects needed to support the KSMC industrial project. So since then, we've been working with, on the water side, Wholesale 12 and Rural Water District 3, primarily because they've been the most engaging and have had the most ability to provide a solution. We're certainly open to and looking at other water supply solutions, but we now have a known water solution through Wholesale 12 and Water District 3, and we understand the financial model of which those capital projects can be funded. In this case, Wholesale 12 would issue their own revenue bonds. Rural Water 3 would issue their revenue bonds on the understanding that a utility agreement would be entered with TEM, the fabrication manufacturing facility operator and end user, to justify the funding of those projects. Similarly, on the gas side, entering into a utility usage agreement, and on the power side, we now understand from Evergy, the transmission lines needed, the substation needed, the type of those needed, and the power purchase agreement that would be needing to be executed with TEM, the end user, for those. And the reason I share that is what we're trying to provide clarity on is what are potential Coffee County expenditures, what are TEM or private developer expenditures, and putting those in the appropriate buckets, and what are the necessary processes for engaging and executing these utility agreements. Similarly, we're identifying all of these projects that are relative to the KSMC industrial park. So similar to that are the off-site roadways and highways, and that's where CFS has been instrumental in helping out with both off-site roadway highway projects as well as the on-site industrial park improvements, and understanding the state of Kansas and KDOT's approach on somewhat of a share cost model that may not completely be defined to date, but they're being engaged to further define those. And if Saban's in the room, he could speak more to that progress than I on that.
Yeah, he is with us today. You want to add something, Saban?
I sure can. I just didn't want to interrupt the discussion because it's a bigger discussion. Yeah, we've been working, we're very familiar with the KDOT, at least that portion of the roadway improvements. You've heard me mention that before. Once we get a little further refined in this, our next step will be to take the draft traffic study that we've already done on your behalf, have some additional meetings with KDOT. They are aware of this potential project, the development project, the size of it, and the extreme massive infrastructure. And so they have programs there, as I mentioned, the cost share program. They also have an economic development program where we could, through a proper channel with them, receive 100% funding for the improvements on the state highway system. They also have funding programs for off-system that you all have taken advantage of before on your bridges and on your roadways. So those are all categories of dollars that we've discussed with Burns & McDonnell that we would take forward to the state on behalf of this project. And I think, in my opinion, I feel like it would be well received because of the economic potential this could bring to the entire state. So that's just in a nutshell kind of the programs that KDOT can offer if we work through their channels.
Thanks.
Thanks, Evan.
And Similarly, the on-site improvements relative to the industrial park common areas, the wastewater treatment facility site, on the development, so we have vehicles that we now understand, a lot more clarity today on how to create those. Now, what Saban and I have been working on is, taking this high-level spreadsheet and turning it into narratives that can be put within the outline development agreement, and I'll toggle over to that development agreement. As you can see, it's a work in progress, but this outline development agreement, we're working together to collaborate the narrative on that. So getting some of what you saw on that spreadsheet understood in narrative format within the agreement, so that then at that point is where I believe a work session would be a good work session to have with the county commissioners as well as their legal counsel to walk through each section of these and the exhibits and have a better understanding of all of those. Right now, this is the framework for that agreement, and you can see where we've started doing some edits and have some blank areas and some highlighted areas of things that need to be updated. But it would be this document that we can have in a format that is prepared for a work session. I feel confident by Monday of next week that we can definitely do that. And then I'll give you a snapshot on some of the exhibits that we have that are in very high-level draft format that Saban is incorporating into their conceptual design to incorporate. So, for example, here's a high-level Evergy transmission plan that we received, and apologize on the lack of quality on this. This is an image they provided to us that was part of another document. So we're taking this understood routing to deliver power to the site, and Saban is incorporating that within the overall off-site utility infrastructure plan. Same with gas. Gas, that we've identified 2 routes from the gas source, and so Saban will be taking that and coordinating that within some of the drawings there. And then water. So we've identified the water route as well. So we're coordinating all of that with any potential impacts that it may have for off-site roads and highway improvements, making sure we're understanding any potential permits or easements or road or highway crossings to coordinate those things with understanding of making sure we're being smart about it and not, finding the most efficient and effective way to go about these matters. So these are all documents that are work in progress documents that we're incorporating, collaborating from. And then I'll jump to an overall schedule that is a comprehensive schedule that we're working on, and this is a scheduling software, so it's not a simple timeline. So it's a Gantt chart. But overall, we're tracking pre-development activities, which includes the development agreement, purchase and sale agreement. We've identified the CHIPS funding in its current state, and the red here would identify a critical path. And so we're identifying the CHIPS funding as a critical path for the financial funding that would start really push the full release of engineering, procurement, and construction of the fabrication facility. We're tracking and identifying all the utility provider infrastructure projects, including some of the feasibility studies that can be done early on, the engineering and permitting documents that can be done. And some of these, we have tied to that CHIPS funding award as well, being that in the private sector side, TEM isn't at a state where, without a better understanding of the Department of Commerce intent of awarding funds, that they can execute utility agreements yet. So had there been an opportunity to have some early onset procurements, these utility agreements would be some that would gain us some time if some of those can be done pre-award. But for right now, I'm showing some feasibility studies being done pre-award, but the majority of the detailed design and engineering and permitting on these utility agreements done post-award. So that's power, gas, water, and then our KDOT public road improvements. So we've got these, identified here that we're tracking and projecting what those durations would be relative to any procurements and feasibility studies, design and permitting, and the actual construction improvements, as well as the industrial park common areas for the site infrastructure and the wastewater treatment plant, any of the utility corridors that Saban is coordinating on the roadways within the industrial park, and then of course the fabrication facility, which you see a lot of red there, because they're the main developer for the on-site fabrication that's driving KSMC Industrial Park. So their ability to solicit and negotiate and release and execute agreements on the detailed design, long lead procurements, and ultimately permitting and construction, that's the overall timeline. So a month ago today, we didn't have this comprehensive understanding of the schedule, let alone the durations and activities and sequencing of the activities per each major project. And today now we have a lot more clarity and understanding there. This is still a work in progress, and there are still some details that need to be defined on the relationships and the appetite for releasing some of these things pre-award. But this would be another document that in a work session, we could certainly take a deep dive and make sure we're understanding if there are other opportunities for any pre-award investment that make a difference versus post-award execution. Any questions relative to the overall schedule?
The only question I have, and it's just to ask Joel, if, everything looks good on the screen, but unless we're sitting up in front of it, we can't read it. Can we get a hard copy of everything that you're going to be talking about? If we have a work session next Monday, can we get a hard copy of what you present?
No, certainly. Yeah, we can make that happen for sure.
I think it'd make it a little easier for us to follow through. It's great to see everything up there, the blues and the reds, but
it's about all we see.
Right. About all we can.
I know it's a lot of information. It's a bit of an eye chart in a presentation style, format. And we could definitely get hard copies, and we'll have it color printed so that you can see the critical paths and the reds and the blues.
I think that'd be
and we'll do that in advance, so you got some time to review it on your own and make some notes. But in a work session, we could certainly take a deep dive on each component, the budget component, the schedule component, and any collaboration, coordination, or legal, narrative and engagement component as well.
I think it'd be a plus for all of us if we did have hard copies here.
We could definitely make that happen. Okay. And in the interim, as relative to schedule, other activities that are happening, we're continuing working with TEM on the fabrication side to nail down and define their schedule and their budget. And then we know that they're also putting together a strategy for the getting some more feedback from the Department of Commerce, seeing if we could get any early indication on the due diligence opening as well as a intent to award. So we're hopeful that they can, they strategically have people placed in DC and working the lobby decide to get some more information. So hopefully we get, some indication sooner than later. But that's certainly some information that would be helpful and a driving force. I know similarly they're working with the state of Kansas, and the state of Kansas has made some soft commitments to help fund the project. I think they're working, they continue to have that conversation with the state of Kansas on if any of those funds can be front-loaded rather than reimbursements and rebates on the back end. So those are other coordination and collaboration meetings that are, or discussions that are happening with TEM, the private sector side, and the state of Kansas. So we're here helping on all fronts to provide any information and documents that help those conversations. So these documents are prepared for all of those efforts.
I know Rule 12 and 3, we had a big meeting, it was in December as well. I think it was the week before 1st December, and Rule 12 was going to apply for a grant for a water study. That fell through, am I correct? Yeah. Is the study still continuing, I assume?
What's that?
The study is still continuing, or does it need to continue?
We're doing a study on our needs, but not for the chip plant needs right now. Because we're doing for a small study on our needs for the water plant.
For residential.
Yeah.
Yeah. Preliminary engineering report, just to see what our needs are, but then that can be applied to whatever, upscale to whatever economic development impact it would be, whatever you guys have been doing.
Okay. I just thought the study would encompass this site as well, or am I wrong?
If we knew what the number,
We really don't have good numbers to work with yet on the water needs.
Perfectly, it would be a two-part study, so we're doing our part for our existing lines, distribution and production, to see what we need just to make for ourselves, and then whatever you guys added on to, whatever this project would entail would just be an add-on that would be.
Because I know we, Coffee County, the commissioners all agreed to pay for your water study up front, and then if you got your grant, you'd reimburse us, so I just reiterating that one still, as far as I'm concerned.
That still applies.
Still applies, yeah. Just FYI, I guess, so. I believe we were all at that meeting, and that's the way I remember it. Correct me if I'm wrong, so.
I don't want to speak for them, but I would say on behalf of the project, if that's how the commission recalls it and it's documented, then we
Should
can
be
certainly
December.
work with you guys to add those funds to the work they're doing so that we get both pieces at the same time.
Should be the December 4th meeting, I believe.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
or we work in concert with them to get that done, but in the discussions we had with Folsom 12, I think they've got some good estimating for what that study would take, and we could work with them to get that accomplished, as long as we have your authority or approval to do that.
So, again, that's just the way I remember the meeting.
I thought it was already a done deal.
Yeah.
Presentation, is that part of the evaluation for the water plant on the chip side of it?
Yeah, that was the map that we have that came from Wholesale as well, that Powell showed, was really just their kind of first take on a route that would bring water to the site. We have refined the numbers.
I just can't see it all that well.
The water numbers much more, where, I'll put it this way, TEM has told us to work with these numbers. So we have a number now for the water usage that we can now work with them, that says, here's what the site will need. Now,
That was the last numbers that was presented.
yes.
I think it was in December.
Yeah, we.
Maybe they've been revised since then.
A slight revision, I guess what you need to know is, from a year ago when we were getting numbers from the TEM group, those numbers, they were looking at a different method of how they would handle water in and out. Now the group has a better understanding of what they want to do, so we're much clearer on the amount of water that's needed for the TEM site.
Well, that was kind of, before you started that was going to be my question, was what can we do to get these people the numbers they need, or whoever needs them, to get the study moving along?
I mean, I think Carl would agree. At this point, we have enough information from TEM to say, here's what they're telling us they need now.
Okay,
And we
that's what, whichever one of you could help
TEM's
us.
being represented by X-Sites, their engineering group. They've been working with Matt Carpenter. Matt Carpenter and I have talked extensively. They've taken my numbers and they've refined them some. There probably won't be as much recycling of the wastewater back into reusing it. There may be an uptick in the freshwater using more fresh water, and so they're building more buildings to make it more
Okay.
cost efficient. And that's my understanding in communication with Burns and Mac. They've done a good job on the water part of it, communicating with them.
And also
Yeah.
12, at least the discussions we've had with their folks, I mean, they also understand that the numbers we're talking about for TEM, we also need to account for a build out of the site. So we'll continue to work with them. But the work they've started on behalf of their plant can be easily supplemented if that's the approval direction you all have, then, we'll just get with them and start moving that needle forward.
When city was here, and, each water plant had their own engineer here. I thought you were here too, maybe not.
He was online.
Yeah, that's right. But, I know we made that agreement that day, and they were gonna apply for a grant.
Yeah.
I don't want to repeat myself, that's just making
No,
sure.
it was a good point to bring up, because now they can tie the residential part into this, because there's a question at the time of that meeting, whether it was just for the site, the KSMC site, and now we're tossing in the residential study as part of it then.
Right.
I just want to clarify that this.
No, that's correct, that's correct. I mean, it not only had to do with the site at Beto, but also with the residential, just because you weren't sure how that was going to affect your residential, if I remember it right. Is that correct?
Right, and when there's a little bit of discussion, but Tom did a great job bringing up the distinguishing that we want to cost the residential in with the KSMC site cost on the engineering study.
Yes.
I want to make sure I understand you.
That's the way I remember it.
Okay.
And when
And that was what the intent of the grant, or, of going after the money was to do both. So, what they've already started can be supplemented, and we'll get to the same result.
Well, like I say, I just remember we said we paid for it, so that's stand behind that.
That's my recollection, right?
It was like $160,000 or something like that.
The grant we asked for was $165,000, and we'll work with them to figure out where that number lands, so.
I just know,
But we got plenty, I think that's plenty of budget.
like I say, each entity had their own engineer, and each engineer was gonna get with each other and hash it all out, that's all I remember, so.
Midwest has given some preliminary numbers, but we need to finalize them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this route here, this is a high level of the project, improvement needs that has been communicated to us from Wholesale Water District 12, out of Melbourne Lake. They need to increase the intake, out of there, and then there's some improvements for additional capacity at Wholesale 12, that they anticipated. And then this was the routing that they came up with and coordinated with Rural Water District 3 to get us closer to that KSMC site. So this here identifies that intake, and then the Wholesale 12 plant improvements for additional capacity that, from what we understand, takes into account KSMC industrial site as well as the future needs that they anticipated already, and then the actual improvement of that water main distribution line to Rural Water District 3. So with that in mind, really, that's our update. If there are any other questions that we've not addressed, or any other information or actions, now would be the time to kind of walk through those.
Well, I think Don made a good point of, Fisher Patterson, Wade Bowie, and us had something we kind of brief over prior to the work session might be beneficial. So, I mean, I don't know how many pages long it is, but your presentation for your work session next week, how many pages would that be? I don't know why I asked that question.
Well, the development agreement is roughly 50 pages, and then the exhibits will probably make up another, probably dozen pages. So I think it'd be safe to say,
Okay.
Under 100 pages of documents would make up, the current state for a work session strategy. And that would be the outline development agreement. Here, I'll go back to the list that I had on this
Well, I just
agenda.
think it'd make our work
Really, we would be talking,
go better if everybody knew what they were looking at prior to that day. Just never have like.
Yeah, if we get a hard copy in Thursday or Friday, so we can review it all the weekend, because then we'd have a little bit better idea of what we're gonna be looking at Monday.
We normally like set
yeah,
up
we can,
work sessions for after lunch, that way, I mean, if we get done with our agenda early, then great, but other than that, I don't know what's on for next week yet, but we normally set them up for 1 o'clock. That way we're not rushed.
okay. Yeah, so that would be the development agreement, which would be these articles, the exhibits, these draft exhibits here, and then the schedule that I shared with you and that financial model that I shared with you, those would be the additional items. Now, scheduling that, do we work through Wade or Bobby to get that on the schedule?
We'll just set it for now for 1 o'clock with Brad sitting there. Morning, Brad.
Next week.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next week, June 17th. And any other questions?
Anybody?
Well,
Yes.
attorneys haven't been a part of this for the county to date. Have any other attorneys been a part of this or any other entities?
No, there have not been any legal representative from either side engaged. And my preference would be that we get this in a format that the county is comfortable with and propose that to the private sector side, because they are the receiver, right? They're the ones that'll be acquiring and purchasing and developing, but should be driven by Coffee County.
Are there ongoing meetings that anybody else from the county needs to be a part of? A commissioner, I don't even know if a legal representative, but are there weekly meetings, monthly meetings, every other month?
We're having weekly meetings. Those weekly meetings are primarily on the technical side, the technical approach. So I don't know that would be a meeting that would be, I wouldn't advise for illegal to be in that meeting. They might not be the best use of their time to be caught up in the weeds on, details. But we can certainly schedule any, specific agendas for a meeting for their involvement. But the weekly meetings are detailing out, that schedule that I showed, identifying durations for certain things, assuming sequencing. And those meetings are work sessions on details of water counts and, power demand loads, on-site generation versus, off-site power utility generation and the durations for each one of those. More phasing, sequencing, coordinating the overall site plan from a access and trucking, logistics, operations, and security standpoint. So most of the weekly meetings are a deep dive on those type of coordination.
So these meetings have just been for people within your company, or have other outside entities been involved?
No, it's been a collaboration, so it's been We've had the utility providers, Evergy's been involved, Kansas Gas has been involved, the representatives from the Water District have been involved, so Midwest Engineering, as well as the downstream vendors and suppliers for on-site generation. There's been manufacturers and representatives involved. Excite, the assumed EPC contractor for the fabrication plant, they've been involved. We've had from Coffee County, I think Bobby's been on meetings, and Carl Lee has joined some of those meetings to collaborate there. TEM certainly has been involved. So we've engaged, all perspectives to make sure that we're making quick decisions and moving forward, because these are aggressive timelines, gentlemen, and it doesn't happen unless everyone's engaged and on board to give some quick information and quick direction.
Very good.
I think this meeting we'll have next Monday will bring us all totally up to date. Be time well spent. Because that June 30 day is pretty close.
Yep, pretty close.
Mr. Chairman, do I need to put something else? We've added that to 1 o'clock next Monday. Just Burns McDonald, do I need to add someone else on?
Do we have anybody else other than Burns and Mac involved in this study session? I guess that, just for the information purposes, I guess. I assume Sabian and Warren will attend. And
I would have Saban for sure from CFS.
Charles like to be in there.
Fisher Patterson. I assume there'll be some legalities we can, because I'd like them to have a copy, because like I say, we just stated December 18th, they would be our basically legal representative in this endeavor.
Okay. We'll get some hard copies we'll get those this week, and we'll prepare for Monday the 17th at 1 p.m. for a work session. How long is that time frame that you guys are able to block out? So I'm aware.
All afternoon, as long as you need, as long as we need. That's why we do them at 1 o'clock, so they're not interfering with somebody else.
And it'd be the last thing on for the day.
It'd be the last thing, for the day.
Okay. Very good.
You can be as windy as you want to be.
As long as we're not putting people to sleep, right?
Yeah, that's always a plus.
I think we can accomplish that.
Anybody else have any questions, concerns?
I guess I'd like to take this opportunity from my part, to thank everyone involved, and especially like Wholesale 12 and Rural Water District 3. You guys are outside entities and working to try to help us make this happen, and it's very much appreciated.
Yeah, and on that, I'd like to emphasize as well, the amount of information and collaboration that has been happening, I can't stress enough, it's a lot to do in an aggressive schedule, and to your point, the utility companies have been, pleasantly, surprisingly to work with and collaborate, because typically, a lot of utility companies will draw a hard line until it's a real project and there's utility agreements signed, we're not showing our cards. And, this has been, quite the opposite. So we've been challenging the utility companies to provide information and feasibility type level studies, earlier than they certainly are used to. And they've been very helpful. A a lot of this information that we've presented today, and there's a lot more information behind that, that goes with it, that doesn't happen without them, including strategies on the financial model for those utility agreements, taking place. So, everybody has been, on board and collaborating, working together, and, this is a lot of information that has happened in a short period of time, and, it doesn't happen in silos. So I appreciate everyone's involvement and thus far, and I know there'll be still a lot of work to do, and I know, we'll collaborate really well together moving forward as well.
Great.
I do have one final thing, Joel, if you got, so, in the beginning when this all started, basically, it was pitched to get the land bought, have a location established, so to speak, apply for the grant, and that when everything started developing, any monies we invested on the Coffee County's part would come back to us through sales of the land for other directions. Is that thinking wrong?
No, and here's, this spreadsheet helps identify a lot of that we understood that on a high level then. We know a lot better now, that the targeted areas of which Coffee County, should be really focused on in terms of investment are acting as a developer. So on the utility projects are TEMs to do. Certainly, the developer needs to provide the infrastructure by way of utility corridors and the infrastructure for those utilities to have a pathway. But the power, the gas, the water consumption is that of TEM, the fabrication plant manager. So from a utility standpoint, the bulk of that reimbursement for the utility providers is coming from the private side. So Coffee County can rest assured that unless there's any assistance that Coffee County would like to provide to that, with a different reimbursement strategy, then that weight should be off your shoulders. And then when it comes to the civil offsite roads and highways, again, there may be some, so KDOT, that's where we have some work to do, is to further identify and define what that financial model is and how much, if any, is Coffee County's to fund. And then the finances of Coffee County to develop the industrial park as a developer, yes, there's a portion of that reimbursement which is coming from the purchase and sale agreement for the assessed value for per square foot of that lot that TEM will purchase. And then as the industrial park property management or association, there's been the year-over-year association dues and membership fees for TEM and others that come to the industrial park to buy into and pay into for Coffee County through an industrial park association to operate, maintain, and manage the industrial park. So initially on the sale of the land, and then year over year on the operations, maintenance, and management of the industrial park. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I just don't want to get to the end and say, oh, by the way, you need to write a check for $50 million or something,
Yeah, yeah, and no, certainly that's why this spreadsheet here exists, and we'll put dollars to all of this. We have rough order magnitude dollars already identified, and I think during the work session we could get into those. I don't think this is the appropriate setting for that because it's still a moving target, right? But we'll have those identified, and we can start modeling, if you will, scenarios on what those costs are and what those shared costs may be, so that if you're asked to write a check on the front end, you're very well aware of what that potential cost could be and what that reimbursement strategy is and why and for what, and it's very intentional. So that's our approach. We don't like any surprises for our clients, and that's what we're trying to drive is all of these rough order magnitude budgets for all these different projects, and then the strategies for financing those projects in whatever buckets and where those asks come to play. So certainly there might be an ask, from the private sector, similar to they have an ask for the state of Kansas. There may be an ask that they may have to Coffee County and say, hey, can you help with that? And then it's a business discussion and a negotiation to say, yes, we can help with that, but where's our return on that investment?
Okay. That's it for me. Thank you. I guess.
All right, all great questions, really great questions. Appreciate your guys' thoroughness and time.
Thank you.
Look forward to next Monday at 1 o'clock. So.
You are?
I think so.
I hope so.
If we get 100 pages in the mail, I don't know about that.
Stop by and pick it up tomorrow.
It'll be good reading. That's what'll put you to sleep. I won't put you to sleep.
Okay. Thanks again.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Have a great day.
Yeah,
Thank you as well. Anybody want to add anything, I guess, on that?
I do. There's one thing that wasn't touched on. Did you share with the commission the conversation we had?
No.
There's one caveat. I understand that, Howell was not joking about the tight timeline. I understand the commission at some point had wanted, Fisher Patterson to be involved, but for any third, this is just my advice, take it or leave it. I discussed this with Wade, but it's gonna be real tough for a third-party attorney to come in and acclimate fast enough to get to the timeline. Not just the cost that you pay them, but I asked Wade if he would play that role. I think he's more than capable of handling that legal side of things. And it's not just driven by timeline, but it's uniquely driven by Wade does know Coffee County better than others, and he knows a lot about the project that other attorneys wouldn't know. So that's my ask.
For what segment of it, Bob?
So when you get the NDA and you start, like you mentioned, going through each aspect, every provision of what the development agreement is, and you start to negotiate or discuss those different items, certainly there needs to be legalese added to protect the county and to make things, legally proper in that contract between TEM and Coffee County. But at that time, your attorney would play that legal role, the legal advisement role, and add those things as you go. If you bring another third party in, they're going to have to do all the discovery all over again. You don't have that much time. Did that answer your question?
Well, I think, but I mean, we had, wasn't our plan from the beginning to have Fisher Patterson be involved in this?
Yeah, you can still do that. I mean, there's nothing preventing that other than the timeline.
What prevented it? Because that was what was supposed to happen.
Right.
Whether he's a third party or not a third party. I think I'd like an executive session, 30 minutes.
What grounds and with who?
With Sabian, Yanez, Cook Platt-Strobel, Charles Branson, and Fisher Patterson, and the board, and Bob Skipper.
So, since attorneys are involved, and at this point, Fisher Patterson is still the attorney for the county, as am I. Would this be under attorney-client to discuss provide legal advice relating to details related to the KSMC project? Is that a fair?
Yeah, and so you're attending as well? As
Oh.
a county counselor? You're more than welcome to.
If you want me there, if you don't, that's fine too.
I think you need to be there yourself.
Okay. I need 30 minutes. I'll make the motion to enter the executive session for what Wade stated with Sabian Yanez, Charles Branson, of Fisher Patterson, Wade Bowie is county counselor, and the board, and Bobby Skipper. Did I make sure I got them all?
You made the motion.
I did.
I'll second.
Is that, do we need to wait till he's got it typed, or?
Yes.
Oh, you want it typed? I'm just making notes.
Well, if you'd maybe read back what you have, because
Well, Hugan and moved and Curry seconded to enter into executive session for 30 minutes for the purpose of attorney-client privilege discussion related to the KSMC project. You need more specific than that?
I think that should probably cover it.
Sorry, my typing skills are not
You're not as
top
fast as Angie?
shelf.
You're not as fast as Angie?
That's deleted the last motion.
So I moved, McCurry seconded. Are you okay with that? Or do you want to see it typed up first on this?
No, as long as that's what it reflects, I think you're fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. We'll go in at 11:25. Good.
Yeah, I do.
Andrew, we're gonna go back, same reason, same people for 20 minutes.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Gone.
Any further discussion?
And you said 20 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
And
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll go in at noon, 12 o'clock.
okay.
I'm out of here.
Yep.
Board agenda?
Pardon me?
Don't know there is.
Holy moly.
I know, right? We're getting close.
What do you want to know?
No. So, same motion, go back in for 15, and that what we kind of thought, 15 minutes.
That's
Same
be long
people.
enough. Yeah,
Take whatever you want.
let's do 20.
Okay, 20 minutes. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Curry seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
20 minutes at 12:25. By the way, my clock's.
Yeah, Bill up on there.
Whatever they've done here.
we're here to stay. Unless, Amelia, I see you hanging out.
Like the policy manuals off.
We're off on that one, aren't we?
No executive session for me.
You think?
We're behind
A little bit, yeah. You got a minute, so you can.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
Should I shut this back off?
No, you're
No.
okay, you just can't start any
Can't do
business.
anything.
Uh,
One more minute.
Your deal went off, Tom.
I said 20 minutes.
Said 20, and his 20-minute deal went off.
Oh, well, you went in at 12:25 and
Uh-huh.
then it's 12:29, and not 20 minutes? No, 12:45, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Never mind.
We're here.
I had the wrong number, God.
No harm, no foul.
Oh.
Leslie
I
went
thought
off.
maybe I screwed up again. 'cause
No.
I am the reason for
I
the
did
egg
this
timer.
time.
I am the reason for this egg time.
I'm the one that screwed up. Sorry about that.
Okay. New policy manual.
Wade's gonna man that, I think.
Well,
Do I need to go find him?
he got deterred downstairs
You want me to go check?
there. Leader, like he's got.
I just need to know if you want to keep it in on the thing. You covered, I think both you and your,
Yeah,
so just to keep the same on that. I assumed that, but I didn't want to,
yeah, no, thank you.
that's it. Okay.
All right, now we're good. Want a cracker?
Just thanks, I'll go to lunch here soon, so.
This is my lunch.
Thank you for all.
I was gonna send it out to vending machine anyway, I wasn't gonna give you one line. Bigger than get knocked out.
All right. We're on policy manual, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is new and improved.
It's something.
The latest and greatest.
The latest and greatest, correct. So, last weekend, I sent you the most up-to-date version of the policy manual after all of the changes. There was, at that time, in addition, after a conversation with Amelia about the nursing mothers component, and that would be on page 8, there was a paragraph added about the county will provide a room that's private, secure, clean, free of hazardous materials, shielded from view, free from intrusion by supervisors, co-workers, and the public. At a minimum, this room will provide a place to sit, table or shelf, a place to pump, and other equipment and access to a power source to plug in an electric pump. That was something additional that was added at Amelia's request because it needed to have reference to that. The other items that were changed, we moved to page 19. After a conversation with Angie at the very bottom, work schedule and hours of operation, regular work week for a full-time Coffee County employee is, it said Monday through Saturday, and it was changed to Sunday through Saturday, or is that right? Monday
It says
through,
Monday through Sunday, I think.
Monday through Sunday, right.
And so when we were working through all the time clock plus issues, and it just seemed more reasonable, I guess, to make Sunday through Saturday your work week than having it wrap around into the next week, and then
Okay.
when someone works over their 40 hours, they would get their comp for. And we revised the timesheets now to where, to hopefully not be confusing, but employees will know they have to hit that 40 hours before they can actually earn the comp time or the overtime. And they can't enter it on the day. They just need to put in the actual hours they work. So like if they're supposed to work an 8-hour day and they work 10, they just put in 10 hours. And then once they work another 8, another 8, another 8, when they hit their 40, that's when they earn their comp. And then there's a spot where they put their 2 hours or whatever they earn.
Okay.
Or at the rate of what they should be getting. So if it's time and a half, we want them to go ahead and put in the time and a half rate, because we can't assume what every person's doing.
Right.
And since we're not using the time clock plus system anymore, we want everyone to put in what they should be getting. So when they go, then that number will carry over to the comp time column, and then when they take off their hours, it'll automatically calculate that. Anyway, unless you guys think it should be Monday through Sunday.
It makes sense, because Road and Bridge just said they're gonna have guys called out Sunday, so.
Yeah,
To me, this is the way it needs to be.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I'm fine
Yeah,
with
that sounds fine.
But I made that, I knew we had this, but instead of waiting for you to say that change could be made, I just made it, and then I was bringing it up today.
Sure,
to not
that's
delay
Same
things.
difference, yeah.
The-
Fine.
The other change that was made that needed to be made is also on page 19, directly above the section you were just looking at, time records. As of the decision by the board to go back, or I guess back out of Time Clocks Plus, all of the language that was in the previous version was in reference to an electronic time clock. So I went back in time and I pulled the language that was provided to the county in the original version that is now presently within the document. And it's pretty short, pretty sweet. And I think to the point, basically, employees are responsible for recording their time, including when they arrive at work and when they depart. Altering, falsifying, tampering with time records, or recording time on another employee's time record is considered fraud and is grounds for immediate termination. If you are a non-exempt employee, it is your responsibility to maintain accurate time records for each workday. That's it. Period. So the other version had a bunch of extra for the time clocks plus. Outside of that, I've made no other changes in the last version that was sent to you. I'm not sure if those changes, I forgot to look, see if that altered the table of contents, which has the page numbers in it. If it did, that's my fault. I accept responsibility there, because I forgot to check that. Outside of that, your employee handbook, it's in your hands now. I think, if I recall, we were looking to see if any paper could help with printing.
Yes, I talked to Chris Damon last Thursday or Friday, and he said that they are capable of printing and binding them. And similar to what our old policy manual was, I asked to do the spiral type binding.
Yeah.
And so he was gonna get back with me on a number for that. It was not gonna be over the $10,000, so I figured you guys would be okay with whatever that's gonna be.
Right.
I don't even think it would be $5,000, but we've got, if we plan to do about 200 to have some on hand, and then we do have a sign-off sheet that we used previously for the 2017 version of our policy manual, so we'll modify that for this one. And as soon as we can get them printed, we'll get them printed and get them going.
That sounds good.
Very good.
You do make a motion to adopt new policy handbook as written, is that correct?
Yeah.
I wrote something, see what
Oh, you already did? I'm sorry.
I just kind of did a little draft thing. If that works.
Okay. Move to approve and adopt the final June 2024 employee handbook.
I'll move.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
So the only thing within this, and I don't know if there needs to be a master copy on page 5, we wanted all of the signature lines for every commissioner, so that is included. You don't have the signature line of Jesse, I don't know if it matters or not, but just,
We could stamp,
You got his stamp?
If
Got his
you-
stamp?
we could stamp it if he's okay with that.
he's one that wanted it done a year ago, so I'm sure he wouldn't have an issue with it.
Right. I'll let you text him or whatever.
Okay.
Approval for his stamp, I assume you
Yeah.
need that first. So.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, Curry moved, Thompson seconded. Any other discussion?
Do you want it effective
Oh,
today?
Oh, yes, effective June 10th, 2024. I'm assuming McCray will still move.
I'll still move.
Yes, sir. Still seconded. Yes, sir. Any more discussion? Going once. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Can't really be done, can it?
So
Should we have them sign? And then,
have a master copy, and then that's the copy that'll go to print.
yeah. So if I can have, you can just use mine here, I guess.
Through halfway.
Let's take a look back to
No, not quite that heavy a duty.
I'd have my desk where I was able to get through the last two.
I have all the previous versions, if anybody wants us going back to the beginning.
I had 3 in there, so I'll do that.
So the next step is to look at page 44. Page 44 is the employee acknowledgement form, and it's at the very end before the hiring checklist, the termination checklist, and other that ends on page 47. I would suggest you set a time and date or a date that department heads have the employee acknowledgement form returned, and maybe you need to know, I guess you'll need to know when the print, you'll have the print versions back, so maybe you wait till then, but I think if you don't earmark something now, it'll be easy to lose track of that and then not have these acknowledgement forms returned, so they go back to Angie.
Go ahead, 30.
I'd imagine they could probably turn that pretty quick.
I would think so. I would think a month should be enough time, don't you?
Hmm?
A month? So-
Is that too much?
Well, no, I mean, I think end of July would be,
End of July is, yeah.
if they want.
Do you want this one, Bobby?
I mean, we can bump it up to whatever, it was just revision. Thinking it
I
would
think
take,
July 31st will be fine.
That'll give everybody enough time to get
Yeah.
to,
Maybe when they pick up their paychecks, they can make sure if they have any stragglers, bring them to us, or won't give out their paychecks, I don't know.
I think, 45 days is probably too long,
Yeah,
in my opinion. I always like to keep things quickly. I think you'll have a higher percentage getting back, less people to call, but that's my opinion.
Well,
You gotta get the paper
4 weeks
first.
from now.
they've got to be printed and then they've got to be handed out.
Well,
Go to July the 19th, that's on a Friday. So if they get them here next week, that'd be 4 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know what their schedule is yet. He was
let's
gonna
find
be
that
happy.
out first.
Yeah, let's see when they
We can
set
talk
it
about
down.
it next week, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's find out when that is. We could be too soon or too long. Let's just wait till we hear,
Okay.
a date of when they'll
Yeah,
go out
sure.
in hand.
Mine's
Well, it's back over to you or unless anybody wants to talk about the policy manual some more.
I have 3 update items, Chairman, that I'd like to talk about whenever you have time,
Update.
on 3 separate projects.
Yeah, go ahead.
SSM, I think all of you know about that, but they did get their formal approval, and they are closing on one of their loans today, and, talked with Greg Varnberg this morning. Justin Wallace will come down and meet here pretty soon and schedule all the closings with the county and SSM and everybody else. The amphitheater, there was a city council approved the term sheet last meeting. Now they're going to come back to the county, and I think they got 1 or 2 small minor requests, but essentially there's an operator now who's going to build it, construct it, own it, and operate it.
That would include the motel?
Yes, sir.
The whole project that was originally planned then?
Yes, sir. As originally planned.
And the county won't be involved.
Other than giving them a few, like a little abatement type tax stuff. The Chamber of Commerce, what does the commission want to do? They will meet with y'all, work sessions, privately, or do you just want to, what do you?
It sounds like right now they're not going to participate in any funding coming in from the businesses.
What do you mean, like,
Well, like their annual fee.
Oh, correct, they're not proposing currently unless the commission
Currently dropping it
asks them to, right.
until we make our decision.
That's right.
Like, my thought, I was just myself, waiting to see what happened with that deal was,
With
what
the
we were
amphitheater
gonna do, what we were gonna try to do,
Yeah.
Yeah, the chamber now is just a straight up deal. They just need funding, short and sweet, to be able to hire somebody. And unless the commission tells me differently, also, the same funding we've been given, because that's coming around, the tourism guest tax, and the budgeting process. That's why I'm asking.
I think with everything else going on, I think for me anyway, it just got stored back there instead of up front, but,
I'm just not sure how involved the county should be with the Chamber of Commerce as far as the funding part, especially when they don't have a fee for the existing businesses. And I'm not saying that that's bad. I guess my feeling is that there should be some type of fee to have their skin in the game.
To be promoted,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Very good.
refresh my memory on how much we contribute to them anyway.
Historically, we average about 18 grand a year in tourism guest tax, which we've been giving them 100% of that. So 18 grand of tax money, and then about 20 grand out of economic development.
18 plus 20.
Yes, sir.
So you might as well say 40 grand. or 38, but anyway.
I think, to me, we owe the chamber, since it's been in operation for, I don't know how many years, but a lot of years, we probably owe them a work session and a time to sit down with them and see what they're proposing.
Yes, sir.
I think we've got a little responsibility there. You know, what my position is, I don't know for sure.
Yeah, rather than just basically throwing money at it and try to find out a
Yeah.
direction
You know,
what everybody's expectations are.
Yeah.
Yeah. They came to us in good faith and to me, we need to sit down and visit with them
Yes, sir.
and
I will relay.
understand where they're at and maybe they could understand where we're at too.
Yes, sir.
Two-way combination.
I'll just wait on y'all to give me a date.
And we're tied up.
Next Monday is,
That's
sorry,
probably tied up.
tied up, but,
So we'd be looking at, the one after that would be the 24th.
24th.
yeah,
I have no problem with the 24th.
I don't either.
That gives them 2 weeks' notice to, you know, maybe all their committee would show up.
And we could have a work session like in the afternoon, at 1 o'clock or
At 1 o'clock.
whenever, yeah.
That's
See
where I'm at
if
right
they
now.
can make that work.
Yes, sir. That's what we'll do.
You know, the CID money from the Baumgarts and Hoovers, will that still go to the amphitheater, or does that come to the county?
Well, that's what they're gonna ask for. That will go towards the amphitheater. Still proposed. The commission
So that's
has,
what they're gonna
But
be
that's
asking.
not a done deal. but-
well, the city has, they haven't signed their formal agreement, but the city has said essentially, yes, we're interested.
Okay.
And so they're gonna come, the only thing they're gonna ask the county for is, a sales tax abatement for a few years, yeah,
Okay.
a rebate, rather.
At what value of sales tax? Because it's,
I think he's gonna ask for the property tax off the hotel, go back to the amphitheater so they can enhance its operations.
I guess we'd wait and see what they are gonna be really fast.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And then we could talk about it and entertain it, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
One of your talking points for the chamber, if you recall, they wanted, their proposal included adding a county employee, and, I think you need to probably have the discussion about one way or the other, whether you create a county employee and have that as part of the chamber, or you provide funding for the chamber for an employee and they can handle it themselves. I know during that meeting, mention was made of the housing authority, and that model and that, director is not a county employee, just.
Right.
Yeah.
Was discussed.
They would have to create their own bylaws and rules and whatnot. So, just FYI.
So, I'm assuming they got something like that already in place?
They had with their former director.
Bylaws and...
Yes, sir. I think so. I'm not just.
Well, you might drop that, or touch base on that, so I mean, when we do have our work session, they can bring those with, and we can
Yes, sir.
review and
See which way we want to pursue.
Yeah.
I think there was just a big, whatever records there were kinda, I mean, they were just, I don't know. Well, I'll let them know.
Somewhat haphazard.
Yes, sir.
They could have, they ought to have an operating agreement and, well, the statement of all the operations, really,
Yeah.
statement of operations.
Right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you.
Bobby.
I don't have anything.
Thank you.
See,
You got it. Hour to the jail.
River City.
sir.
All right, I'm gonna go with change order number 9 first.
This has to do with the Sally Port, if I remember correct. And-
This is not the Sally Port. That was change order number 5 that's still tabled, I think 5, I can't remember.
Okay.
So this one, as they're confusing every single one of them, and Don, this is mainly for you, because you ask, because you're the numbers guy. Change order number time, but then it references potential change order number 6.
Sixes.
So this specifically has to do with an automatic door opener, the hardware for the sheriff's staff entry door. So it doesn't change the GMP, all it does is take money out of contingency, and you'll see right here on the screen, 8,000, and I have it up on the screen, Don, so if you wanna.
8417.
8417.
Yeah.
So it goes through,
It's all money, and out paired up.
go too fast. So, contract document revisions associated with request on the return submittal, and it has referenced the added door hardware per the return submittal. Coming out of project contingency, and then all the details related to that below. Materials, $6,572, $396 in labor, 14% 976, bond 75, RFCO, I can't remember what that stands for, but 8,019.
It's cost occurred.
That's right. So,
I can't remember the first 2 letters.
and then here specifically, potential contract change order in reference to the project. This is all the details. Add low energy auto equalizer, ALM finish, 2 6-inch round SS push plates, battery powered for wireless actuation, 2 round mounting boxes, 1 DR3 relay, 2 900 megahertz transmitters, 1 900 megahertz receivers, and then it talks about the things that go with that. Total change order, 6572. We'll have to figure out the tax, because I'm not sure. This is,
There should be no applicable tax.
yeah, 4640 series auto equalizer. If you're curious what that is, I think we have several around the building now. This is kind of what it looks like from different vantage points. There's the arm that's ballooned up in red. That's something specific. Push plates. There's your push plate.
So we're doing away with that feature on this door, is that correct?
No, it's being added.
That's,
Okay.
the motion is deducted, the 8417 is deducted from the contract.
No, it's deducted from the contingency money.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So we have a contingency
Okay.
of like 800,000?
Yep.
And we had
600.
I didn't read,
600. Yeah, that's
I
right.
didn't read far enough along.
So that's what that
My
one is.
fault.
Me too.
So the reason they're doing it is pulling off contingency so that in the end, hopefully there isn't a change order adding. We add 8,000 to the guaranteed maximum price and they don't use the contingency, then they just give it back, so it's, I think it's easier to just use contingency money until it's necessary for the use of guaranteed. switching the guaranteed maximum price, I should say that.
Okay. So if you look right here, Don, that's 8,000, your total contingency
Yeah.
was the 607, 693, and then removing that, you get the 599, 276.
So this is our first contingency deduction we've had.
No, the other change orders have both taken and
Okay, that is, okay, that's right, we got money put in it, yeah.
Yep. And I can't remember. Okay, so that's that change order.
We good to go?
Good to go.
So we'll move to approve. Move to approve and for the vice chairman to sign change order number 9 regarding construction related to the Coffee County Law Enforcement Center as approved by River City Construction on May 30th, 2024. Is all this verbiage correct? Okay. With costs associated with potential change order number 006, which includes contract document revisions associated with submittal review, associated with added door hardware to the sheriff's staff entry door of $8,417 to be deducted from the project construction contingency fund with no change in the project guaranteed maximum price of $25,712,855.
Also,
Don moved.
also move.
I'll second.
McCurdy seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Next to discuss is what I have up on the screen. This is the most recent application for payment submitted by River City. This is application number 6, covering the period up to May 31st, 2024. This current application for payment is for $1,329,340.46. We'll go through and cover what's in this packet. So the first application, the request for payment is in reference to Concrete Unlimited. Their request, if you see in the bottom right-hand corner, is $207,355, but with the 10% retainage, it's $186,619.50. This is for building and reinforced steel. If you look for this period, these are the items that add up to that $207,355. I didn't make any notes or designations here. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what Concrete Unlimited's done. Wheatland Masonry, their total request is for $245,000. Their start date was May 13th of 24. With the 10% retainage, $225,000. And mobilization, $20,000, block labor, $110,000, block material, $115,000. And as you see my notes, concrete masonry walls and grout plus pallet block. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory if you've been out there. HME is the steel, $240,600, 10% retainage, $216,540. Specifically, the work completed that has to deal with detailing, $31,500. That's the design, steel itself, or the material, $180,600. The erection, $28,500. That's specific to the safe room, steel, and embeds, and that's labor for, they call it the safe room for dispatch. Next, IBC carpentry, 14,515 is the total, with 10% retainage, that's 13,063.50. That has to do with 2015 for general conditions. DFH, 10,000. As you see, DFH refers to doors, frames, and hardware. References back to $2,500 from change order number 1, and that's where that total comes from. Holly Jail building, the total here is $223,393.84 for work performed, plus $276,290 for stored materials, for a total of $499,683.84, and 10% is the $449,715.46. You'll see a note, and it'll in the middle of the page here. Accurate is subcontractor to Polyjail for security equipment. You'll see in these details I'm about to show you that will make more sense momentarily. So 164,666.73 is for security hollow metal doors and materials for the detention door frames. SEC and item 33, 34, 35, 37, and 38. Those are security items, and those are stored materials. And if you look on the very right-hand side here, under column F for stored materials, going up and down, this is accurate controls. That's who the subcontractor is to Polyjail. So for all of this equipment, which is pretty self-explanatory, these are the costs for those stored materials. You'll see pictures here momentarily in an invoice. 42, engineering submittal, design, mesh engineering, for $13,674. Project management, $3,979.43. General conditions, job incidentals, $36,027.09. Change order number 1, that was already approved at $5,045.69. And then if you add stored materials and the work performed, that's where you get the $499,683.84. Here is the invoice from Accurate Controls for $276,290. And then we get a little further down. That's their request to Polyjail for all the things that are included this round. It's the same thing that we have in their pay app, but then here's some of the product. So these are the stored materials. That looks a lot better.
Pallets are usually on the bottom.
So these are all the stored materials for this project. Just they didn't open the box and show, but this is representative of what the stored materials are. And just kind of goes on and on. There's quite a bit. This is still accurate. And now we get into the next application for payment. McElroy's. This is the HVAC and plumbing. Their total request $55,456. 10% retainage $49,911. This has to do with, as you see what's highlighted here, 5,000, 5,000, 20,000. 87, 20,196, 5,173. plumbing, HVAC, sleeves for the masonry. And that all goes hand in hand. So that's the total there. Shelley Electric. The total is $25,150.95. Work performed $23,679.95. Stored material $1,471. And their itemized gear equipment. We covered gear equipment the last go round with Shelley, so I didn't redefine it. It says here that the gear equipment is 18,872. This was a catch during discussion, but that should not be 18,872 because that included the gear equipment from the last pay order. So subtracted that, and the accurate number was 1,471 in stored material. And then the rest of it has to do with the labor in reference to the lighting material, power material, all the things that are listed there in the last application for pay. We defined DIM as well, so I didn't redefine it. So stored materials plus the work performed equals the $25,150.95. And then here are the invoices, if you remember, from Resin House, similar to last time, for the stored materials. And here's a picture. And then the last one, Skill and Construction. The request is for $56,749, 10% retainage, $51,7410, and this had to do with mobilization for extra equipment for the storm sewer side. That has to do with the storm sewer immediately adjacent to the existing jail. There's a small path where they had to put in storm sewer. So mobilization, $1,000, erosion control and site prep, added protection plus rock, and reference to the inlets, $500 storm sewer, the line adjacent to the existing jail, $55,249, and that's where that total comes from. And hopefully the notes help, if they do or not.
Yep.
And that's the end. So, unless you have any questions, I think it's important to go over this in detail, especially when you're talking about $1.3 million. So that covers application number 6.
Been very well vetted.
Yeah, we appreciate it very much, but
I can't see that far away. Does that number match what we have in the motion?
No, it does not.
Pre-prepared?
No.
I didn't think it did.
And here it's 1,345, so we're off about $16,000 difference in the motion itself.
Oh, yeah. So the number that's in here, I'd given Angie a copy of the last one, and if you remember that stored material with Shelley Electric, it was $18,000. That got subtracted, and page 1 through 4 got replaced by River City based on that because it changed.
What are those numbers? I can't see that far. 339? 329.
1329 34046.
That's 16 difference.
That was a catch that we made as we went through it, which is why we go through it.
My typing is catching up.
Yeah. Getting a lot of zeros there, Bradley.
46?
You still got a 3 that needs to change to a 2 there.
329, is that what it was? 329.
329, yeah.
How about that?
All right, get
1,329,34046.
Yeah.
This is the most money we spend at the end of the month, but it's on fewer invoices too.
Yeah. It'll get bigger.
Yeah.
Next month will be even bigger.
Yeah. Start moving around, I'd say. Motion to approve the applications Certificate for payment. Good gosh, can you talk on it? Payment, application number 6, submitted by River City Construction LLC, dated 5/31/24, in the amount of $1,329,340.46 for work completed, reference to Coffee County Law Enforcement Center project.
Might jump to the funds part.
Funds come from the jail construction project fund, one of them.
Probably ought to have a motion to approve and for the vice chairman to sign too. First line.
No, actually I didn't. I had 5 in mine first, and she had 5 in hers.
That work?
Yeah. To approve, and for the vice chairman to sign the application and certificate for payment. Number 6.
There is no signature line for the county like there is for the, change orders.
So that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, it was intentionally left blank. The motion will, on its face, will suffice.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll keep the signing back out.
Evidently. We'll go back to the original reading. Move to approve the application certificate for payment number 6, $1,329,340.46.
Also move.
Thompson's moved, you're fine.
I'll second.
McCurry seconded. Any more butchering of this motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Any more butchering, huh?
Didn't know what else to call it.
That was good, that was good.
My bad. That's right. That does complete the agenda. Roundtable, Mr. Bowie. You have some roundtable for us?
I need to request a 10-minute executive session, attorney-client, to discuss ongoing litigation involving the county. And then immediately following the executive session, there will be, I don't know, action taken, but it will be an update.
2 minutes is sufficient?
Yes.
I'll make that motion to go into 10-minute executive session.
I'll second.
McCurry's moved. Meach seconded. Ray's trying to catch up.
So get the close.
Reed's
Who all's gonna be there, commissioners and?
Commissioner and Bowie.
Okay. These other characters.
You got a little, few extra ones in there.
The usual suspects.
Regarding pending litigation, is that?
Ongoing litigation.
Ongoing litigation.
That other one was saved.
4319B2.
That other one was saved, I hope.
Yeah, I took others too, just copied it and pasted it.
Sorry.
That was right there.
McCurry moved, Meach seconded, executive session.
I didn't say for how long.
10 minutes is what it should say, to include the commissioners and council. Wade Bowie. Yeah, or, what is it?
10 minutes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4. We'll go in at 1:41.
CONVA ballots to go out, we have to mail them that day. So we have, I need to get busy this week. I have all that stuff ready to go, and if I know what's gonna happen. Are we gonna need to say something in the minutes about resuming, or
About what?
about follow-up action or something, or are you just gonna provide it?
I'm just gonna provide an update.
Okay.
You're waiting for the fifth person to get here.
Yeah. Been waiting on.
As I indicated prior to going into executive session, I was gonna provide an update. This is an update related to ongoing litigation involving the county. The litigation involves the county as the petitioner, and this is specific to the Maribel's Economic Development Project. Last week, the county filed a foreclosure action related to the properties involved in that Maribel's project. This is sort of, as I had been updating the board and the public related to that particular project, and for a variety of reasons, there was just not an update that could be provided until now. There's an action in the Coffee County District Court involving the county as the plaintiff and the owners of that property, as well as Maribel's as the defendant, among others. So that is, in essence, the update. It's I don't want to go into the deep details, because that is a document somebody can request and get if they want. It's a number of pages long, and that is what's going on. But by filing that petition, there's a period of time for an answer, and then depending on what happens with that, then it moves through the court system. So that's the update. The last thing that I have for today, I had been, prior to Jesse going on vacation, there had been some back and forth with the owner, the SSM, Bart Massey, and his, the people who are tied to or affiliated with him, in reference to their interest in possibly leasing for a period of time the Bailey property. And my understanding, after going back and forth and taking the agreement, the proposed lease agreement that was presented to me, having it changed and modified to reflect what this board was comfortable with, the SSM entity has decided that they want to go in a different direction about it. And I think that's a pretty fair statement.
Yeah, I called Bart
Okay.
to see if he was still interested, and he said he had a meeting with his board last Wednesday night. Called me Thursday and said it was just a little too much facility for them, and they were going to pass. Kind of long and short of it.
So that's a new development. Obviously, the goal is to get somebody in that house, because an empty house is a liability. I think everybody agrees with that. Right. To my understanding, there's a new individual that's come forward that's potentially interested and is willing to assume whatever responsibility for the house, the property, under similar conditions as what was suggested for SSM. except for they would agree to take care of the pool, they would agree to take care of the landscaping, lawn, snow removal if necessary, to sign whatever agreements, and that would be something for the board to consider. I don't know if you want to take it. I was initially approached, and then I'm not a decision maker, so I passed it on, and I think there's been some discussions. I had some discussions with that individual who is tied to a current project that's ongoing in the county. Ideally, because, and I guess on the backstop of the update from Burns and Mack in reference to the CHIPS project, contrary to maybe some of what people outside of the board and outside of this building are speculating about that project, that is moving forward. It is spinning in the background. There are a lot of moving parts, and if that timeline is accurate, towards the end of this year, September, October, in that timeline, it's anticipated there would be an award of some sort related to the CHIPS project, which means that whole area, if you're to believe what Burns and Mack and Howell presented today, the infrastructure is being discussed. There's a development agreement that's going to be discussed. That whole area will potentially change drastically in the next year and a half, and moving into the future, which turns to the house, and having somebody in that house and knowing what needs to happen with that house. It may make sense to have somebody who's willing to sign into some sort of short-term lease agreement or rental agreement with the county, with the idea that a year from now, the county will know what's happening with that property in great detail, and the individual and entity that would be interested is tied to the jail project, and once the jail project and the renovation is over, they're gone. So they have no interest in buying or purchasing the property, which may be something for the board to consider, and it may be something that's beneficial for right now to get somebody in the house, taking care of it. But that is for you to decide. So that's.
I did call Trust Point because they hold the insurance policy on that building, and I don't know if she got back with you or not, but to my knowledge, the last conversation I had was that they will require whoever is in there to have a policy to cover themselves and their actions.
And contents, whatever contents they'd have in there.
Yes, renter's insurance is what it's called, but it covers anything anything that may happen as a result of their actions. Basically, it's the easiest way to describe it.
Well, we don't want anybody going there and ransack that house.
Right, and that's why the insurance policy is going to be put in place, to where anything outside of normal maintenance, if it's caused by that renter, that insurance policy will cover it. And our insurance company wants to see a copy of that policy, and I believe, if I understood it correct, they could write that for them.
And I've not heard, I know that you'd mentioned they would get in touch with me, that just hasn't happened yet, that this is.
Well, this was late, or early Friday, and she wasn't sure if she would hear back. She said maybe by the end of today at the least, so.
Right. So that's a new development that SSM is not interested in potentially shifting to another potential occupant.
So if we did some kind of contract like that, what would be the length then? I mean, would it be for like an 8-month or 10-month or 6-month or?
what was suggested to me or requested, I mean, if they're tied to the jail project, the end of the jail project, if you're looking into the future, what that timeline is, basically a year from now is when the jail is expected keys turned over. So you go on the jail side, which would then trigger moving into the renovation side. Renovation side, my understanding is gonna be approximately 8 months, 8 to 9 months, somewhere in that neighborhood. And that's, if everything goes according to plan. I think if we look at the current jail project, you've had some delays due to weather, but they're still on time because they're moving forward and they're in cruise control, and then they sort of have to step off the gas a little bit, but they're efficient, they're working well, so the timelines are right where they need to be, is my understanding. So with that being said, the request or suggestion to me was for a year from the end of either June or July, and then at the end of that, the option to pick it up on a month-to-month basis, because they don't know when the jail project would be over.
So they'd want to rent it till the end of the renovation also, or just
Yes.
for both?
Yep.
Okay.
But you're saying just a year, basically, from July, end of July to next July, and then...
And the benefit to doing that, in my opinion, so one of the terms with the other entity that was interested, they originally wanted 2 years, and the county wanted 1, because not knowing what's happening with that land, so that ends up being their line, and then if it's month to month, and something happens and something needs to happen with that house, then you can provide notice and say, we're not gonna renew after that month, and that ends up being a benefit. The fee structure, was around $3,500 to $3,250 a month, and the $3,500 was to take into account the cost associated with maintaining the pool, because I think right now somebody comes on a regular basis to maintain the pool. I don't think that would be necessary unless you wanted it to stay that way. I mean, those are all things that are open to and subject to discussion.
There's a brief conversation I had with him, but it sounded like he's no stranger to pools and can comfortably take care of it.
That was gonna be
The
my
way I
question.
understood it.
Yeah, because before, we thought, well, maybe we better just keep the pool guy coming to protect our property.
The conversation I had, that they used to work for a pool company, so they know pools, which.
Okay.
It's open.
It's good.
Yeah.
And 3,500 is what we was talking about last week or 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure when, but.
Yeah. That would include, my understanding is what the suggestion was previously, cover all utilities except for internet. And then they would be responsible for cutting the grass, which, as Tom's experienced, as I've experienced, it's not a small yard.
2.5 hours and I was on wide open.
So that would be a benefit, and then, but it's up to you, or if you want to do something different. I think right now, the way the land, in particular related to the house, is carved out, that's subject to potentially change, and if you were wanting to put that on the market and sell it right now, it would take a little while to figure out how that plays with, interplays with what's going on with Burns and Mack and how they have things laid out on their, within their development agreement. And I think those things are, if I understood the conversation this morning, from Joel, that those things are, there's timelines that have to be met and different things that are more imminent than others. If you have somebody in that house, at least for the next year, you can sort that out and figure out what that land and how much, is it gonna include the small lake or not? I know that's something that's gone back and forth, and if it does, then that will require a new property description. It will also potentially require a change in zoning, so.
So for now, they would just be renting the house and the area that's being mowed now?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about? So that's kind of laid out in the lease that they mow that area, or?
I've not put anything together because before I moved forward, I had been focusing on SSM. I had made revisions to what was sent to me, sent it to them, and then as of last week, it was passed on to me, they're not interested. So I've not even started with anybody new because I need your guidance and direction there.
I'm fine with proceeding myself.
So we'd be at 3250, and they're gonna take care of the pool then, is that?
That's what the proposal would be.
Okay.
I think it'd be in the county's best interest to
Yeah.
do it.
And we've got someone reputable involved, so,
Yes.
would be my thought.
As long as they got that insurance policy in place, our insurance is fine with it, the way I understood it, but she was gonna get back to Wade or I to,
Okay.
she had to call, I guess I should say the girls at Trust Point were confident that EMC would be okay with it, but they still gotta run it by them.
Sure.
And so we just haven't heard a final word yet, but they didn't see a problem.
Most rentals, even on the landlord-tenant side, require personal property insurance policy to cover those type of things, and they would also cover probably the types of things their trust point is concerned with, would be mine.
That sounds good.
And I like the fact that, a year, by then, like Wade said, we'll know exactly, or we should know exactly where we stand with the chips.
Yeah.
All that kind of.
Should know more than we know now, hopefully.
Yeah. Of course, we said that a year ago too.
I know. And we're talking another different September.
We're gonna know something October 1st,
Yeah, I hope so.
That's the end of the government year, and that's probably when they're gonna try to close things out.
So is it consensus to let him proceed with communications with this individual as long as the insurance companies are
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
sufficient?
I agree.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Outside of that, that's a lot of information for one day.
I don't have anything.
Roundtable? No?
I'm fine today, Tom.
I don't have any either. I think we got everything
Covered all the stuff.
covered and discussed and maybe that was my roundtable earlier, so. Yeah. Bradley?
I got nothing.
Anything from the clerks? No?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
The deadline passed last week for elections.
Yeah.
All I know, it's all gonna become official next Monday, and then they'll be ready to send federal ballots out by Friday, so we're gonna be on the move there.
Can't wait for it to all be over.
I understand. It'll be fun.
Right. Nobody has anything else, we will adjourn at 2:11.
See you, James.